Champions are made from something deep inside, a desire, a dream, a vision. Anything is possible if you are determined, dedicated, and if you believe in yourself. I am Lauren Swistak, and I am ready for the new season.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us here on Clan TV for today's SFU Swimming dual meet against the Seattle University Redhawks. I'm Brandon Norrie, and this is Alexandria Schofield coming to you live from the Margaret Paul Savage Pool.
We're excited to be doing the commentary for the meet today and throughout the show. We'll not only bring you every race, but hopefully get a chance to interview some of the SFU swimmers, so stay tuned.
Before we go any further, here's a quick recap of the team's dual meet last Saturday against Seattle U down in Washington.
The Clan were feeling a little rough after back-to-back swim meets and a long training camp down in Hawaii. Although the training was rigorous, the Clan took home the distance 1650 event with Kristen Olivet and Tim Winowski winning it by a close finish.
The Clan, Jesse Gibson and Adrian Vanderhelm took home a few wins for Simon Fraser in the 200-yard freestyle and the 100-yard butterfly for Jesse and 100 free for Adrian. The women ended the meet on a good note by winning the 4x100 freestyle relay, overtaking the Redhawks by just under 2 seconds, while the Klansmen took a close second. All in all, SFU worked hard and is hoping to improve every weekend until the championship in Alabama.
All right, and a little bit about the opposition for today's dual meet. Seattle U is a Div 1 school and is competing here today as their final regular season meet. They'll be heading off to the Western Athletic Conference meet in Houston, Texas from February 22nd to the 25th, try and qualify for the NCAA Div 1 champs.
Today's expectations for our meet is we're expecting a pretty exciting meet as the Clan and the Redhawks have been rivals for the past few years. Although SFU took a hard hit last weekend at their away meet against Seattle U, today's a different dual meet format where there will be swimming the 800-meter freestyle and the distance and the 200 of every stroke. This can be an advantage for the Simon Fraser as Seattle U are better performers in shorter events.
We have some great swims to look out for, including the 800 freestyle with Kristen Olivet swimming another round after her win in the 1650 last weekend, the 200 butterfly with Lauren Swistak, and the 200 freestyle with Adrian Vanderhelm. And, of course, both relays at the beginning and end of the meets are important, as those events are where the most points can be won for the teams.
That is for us right now. We'll have the national anthems for you, and we'll join you again on the other side. We're watching SFU Swimming on Clan TV.
Fear can either drive us back or push us forward to play harder and stronger. To uncover your true potential, you must first find your own limits and then have the courage to blow past them. I am Cruz Velasquez, and I am ready for the new season.
A champion pushes to the point of exhaustion when nobody else is looking. It's not about who you are, it's about who you can become. I am Meg Wilson, and I am ready for the new season.
And remain standing, please, for the playing of O Canada.
All right, we're just about to get underway here at the SFU Seattle U dual meet. First on the docket is the women's 4x100 medley relay. The order of events in this is the backstroke, breaststroke, butterfly, and freestyle. Each leg plays an equally important role. We got Jessie going first for the women's A relay, and looks like that's Megan Franks going second on the breaststroke, Alicia Kahn for the butterfly, and that looks like
Lauren Swistak for the freestyle. Each person will be doing 4 lengths of the pool for each stroke.
The girls are just hopping into the water now. The backstroke leg is important because it sets up the other swimmers to be in a good spot to race. The backstroker, their split is official as they go from an official start, and then after that, everyone else's split is only a relay split because they get to go from a relay takeover.
Jessie is one of our rookies on the swim team. She's very fast and a very good swimmer and very hard training.
Jessie has really awesome underwaters. We'll watch as she turns here. She's going past the flags, well past the flags on every underwater. You can see those small, fast dolphin kicks. Puts her in a really good position to race these girls. And she's well ahead of the Seattle U teams. She's coming into the 50-meter mark. She's turning at the split of 30.53, an excellent first 50 for the 100-meter backstroke.
An amazing underwater on there too, almost 10 meters off the wall.
Backstroke is one of those strokes where having a high stroke rate and then super strong legs to support is really important. You'll never see a world-class backstroker that has a poor underwater portion of the race anymore.
Up next is Megan Franks getting on the blocks here. She's getting ready to do a relay takeover from Jessie. As soon as Jessie touches the wall, Megan is off the blocks.
Jessie touches in a 102.97. That's an awesome first leg for the relay, putting them almost 5 seconds ahead of the next competitor. Megan's in an awesome spot to continue to pull away from the Seattle U swimmers or at least maintain the lead.
Megan Franks is a third year here at SFU, and this is her specialty stroke, is breaststroke. The 100 is probably her best over the 100 and 200. She's going into the wall right now. She looks very strong.
You can see with breaststroke, with Megan's breaststroke especially, she has super strong legs, and you can see her finishing every single kick with every stroke. She's looks like the Seattle U swimmer in lane 4 is making a little bit of a move, is going to attempt to catch her, and it'll be Alicia's job from here on to maintain that lead or begin to pull away from their butterfly.
Going into the last 25 of the breaststroke leg of this event. Up next is Alicia Kahn, a second year here at SFU. Again, her specialty stroke is butterfly, so this is going to be making up for a good race, especially since Seattle U is about to catching up here.
Good leg from Megan Franks. Is about a 113. That's a really good in-season breaststroke split for her. We watch Alicia Kahn as she comes in here. Super strong butterfly, really good turns. Alicia is a really strong swimmer. She's not very tall, but she uses her small, strong legs to good use with that underwater dolphin kick. underwater dolphin kick and fly is especially important. Brandon and I would know.
Yes, for sure.
The longer dolphin kicks you have, the less butterfly you have to swim. It is one of the most difficult strokes because it is symmetrical, so your arms have to move at the same time and be at the same height above the water. And that ends up making it a very powerful stroke, and it is very tiring. So the longer your underwater dolphin kicks are, the less swimming you actually end up having to do.
Here she goes in for her last 25. A nice strong underwater here. That was an amazing underwater, actually. Almost 10 meters right there.
She pulled away a little bit from the Seattle U swimmer on that, too. Seattle looks like a very strong swim team, but you can see where Alicia's really amazing underwater has just helped carry her through here.
So here's our senior, Lauren Swistak, just entering the water. She is more of a distance swimmer, but is an all-around really good freestyler as well as butterflyer.
I had the pleasure of swimming with Lauren for quite a long time as a club swimmer and also as a varsity swimmer, and you just know when she's on a relay that she's going to step up for her team. It's hard at this point in the season for Canadian swimmers where you're coming off a tough training camp, back-to-back dual meets, but you can always expect Lauren to turn on the jets when she needs to for her team. She is just pulling away from Seattle U and is making that lead way bigger than it was before. She's coming into the 75-meter mark. You can see her legs. She's kicking super hard. She's breathing every two to keep that oxygen flow going.
Here's the last length of the entire relay heading into the wall. We're looking really good. SFU is looking really good. Seattle's close behind, but it looks like SFU for the win with a time of 4:19.23.
Awesome first relay for the women here. The relays are worth double the points over the individual events, so coming out with a strong showing like that sets them up really well for a win.
So yeah, the race is just finishing up here with the other Seattle teams touching the wall, and up next is the men who are going to do the same relay. So again, it's going to be backstroke first, breaststroke second, butterfly third, and freestyle fourth. The order of our men is going to be Adrian Vanderhelm on backstroke, Keenan Elliott, one of the only male senior actually, this year, Gabriel Lee on butterfly, and Rolando Hernandez on freestyle.
So this will be important for the men, too, to get a good showing. It's important for them to win this, because as you can see here, there's 3 Seattle teams and only 1 SFU team. So it's really important for them to get that win, because the gap between points between first and second is much bigger than second and third and fourth and so on. So winning an event in a relay ends up being big points and sets you up well for the rest of the meet.
The men lost this event last weekend at the Seattle, so they're looking for a comeback, and they're in lane 3, which is the fastest lane in the pool, so they're looking to be strong and get the win.
It's important to be in the middle lane, too. It sets yourself up well. You can see your competitors, the next 2 fast competitors on either side of you, whereas when you're on the outside lanes of the pool, you can only really see the person who's directly to your inside, who is not actually in the middle of the pool in the fastest lanes. So Adrian, in this backstroke leg, can keep his eye on the swimmers in lanes 4 and lane 2. And then on these underwaters, you're not supposed to look, but he might take a peek and see where everyone else is. He's well ahead out in that with that first 15 and a 27.12. Awesome first leg of the backstroke.
Adrian's a really awesome swimmer, very multidisciplinary. He can do pretty much everything. Breaststroke would probably be his weakest, but he's a good IMer still, and so his breaststroke is still even strong with that.
You can see Adrian, he's pulling away a little bit. He moved away from the lane rope because you can see that Seattle U swimmer hugging the lane rope and trying to catch Adrian's draft. We have Keenan Elliott, our senior, pulling off into the breaststroke leg.
I've swum with Keenan for the three past years, except for this year. And he's a very good swimmer, very good person to train with, very motivating, and a very good guy overall, and a really awesome breaststroker.
Keenan has that nice breaststroke where it almost looks like he's doing a dolphin motion. And the reason why we do that, it ends up putting you in a good streamlined position between each stroke, and it just adds a little extra power at the end of each kick. He's maintaining the lead over Seattle U, and he'll put Gabe Lee in a good position to either pull away or stay in the same spot. So we got Keenan about to come into that last leg here, a little bit slow on the touch, and the Seattle U made a little bit of a move on that turn, but Keenan has an awesome underwater pull out. So most other strokes, butterfly, backstroke, and freestyle, you get to do underwater dolphin kicks, but on breaststroke you do an underwater pull. It's a very technical stroke, and you can be a very strong swimmer, but if you don't have the technique down for breaststroke, you'll really struggle in that event.
Here goes Gabriel Lee, or Gabe Lee, as he likes to be called. A very strong butterflyer, one of the strongest on the swim team. He's a little on the shorter side compared to most butterflyers, but he has a lot of upper body strength as well as leg power in order to, as you can see, pulling away from Seattle U here. They were even at the 200-meter mark, but now Gabe is really pulling away and has strong underwaters and a really strong kick.
You'll see the SFU swimmers start to pull away from the Seattle U swimmers towards the end of these races because this is a short course meters pool, whereas the Americans train short course yards. So over 100 meters, the conversion time, so if you're swimming a 5,500 yard butterfly, you're probably around a 101 meters fly. So it does add a significant amount of time. As you can see, Gabe, the Seattle U swimmer, dropped off a little bit in the last 25 there. It does, I'd say it's about a 5-meter difference. It does make a big difference when you're swimming.
Rolando here is in the water for us for the finishing off the final leg of this relay. Rolando is one of the rookies on the swim team this year. He is originally from Mexico, but has lived in New West and swam with Hayak the last few years. Very strong distance swimmer. He swims with Coach Corey in the distance group, but overall very good swimmer. And as you can see, he's pulling away from Seattle, making that gap a little bit bigger, heading into the last wall here. And looks like SFU is going to go in and win this event for us.
So we have two big wins, both on the women's and the men's side. That was awesome. A great way to kick off the meet.
That was a time of 3:48.79, which is an amazing time for the men.
We'll be heading into the women's 800-meter freestyle next. This is a longer event. Kristen won the 1650 yards last weekend in Seattle. So we'll see if she can pull off another big win for the 800-meter freestyle here.
We have Claudia Mathieu, who wrote our script today, actually, for this broadcast.
Thank you, Claudia.
As well as one of the seniors on the swim team this year, and will be finishing her career up in swimming very soon.
Claudia came to SFU in my third year.
Yeah.
So I had the pleasure of training with her for the following 3 years afterwards, and she was an absolute joy to swim with. She is a positive influence on the team, and you can tell she is a leader. She steps up. She's a member of the SACS, or Student Athletic Council, and she organizes so many events for not only the swim team, but also the rest of athletics combined. She's a true leader, and I hope that I'll see her places as her career goes on outside of swimming.
Here comes the start up for the race.
A little delayed start there. The swimmers may have gotten on the blocks early. Here we go. Second whistle means get on the blocks.
So this race, we by being NCAA, by official rules, there needs to be a counter at every end, or a counter at the opposite end of the starting block that counts either all the way up to 32 lengths or all the way down to 0 lengths. They start at 3, and that's why we have all these lovely ladies sitting down at the far end with the counters with number 3 on.
Good start for both Claudia and Kristen. They're out in first and second. Kristen was out in a 31.7 with Claudia out in a 32.3. Really good first splits on that on the 800. The 800 is a little bit of a different animal than what we can expect for the shorter events. You know, it can change really quickly. It's you'll see the best distance swimmers actually have close to an even split, and they'll try and pick up in the second half of the race. You have to be extremely disciplined and smart with the way you swim an 800.
If we were able to pull up all the splits, guarantee you all of them would be like, for example, like 37 point something, and they would be not very often that they would vary from that.
You might see a big difference in between the last 50 because people tend to pick up there. It's easy to pick up. You know it's the last 2 lengths of the pool. You'll hear the bell lap, so that's when you know you're on your last 50. And the first 50 with that dive. And then with the excitement of the race, it's really easy to get out and go fast. But Kristen seems to just continue to pull away from the rest of the pack here.
She has a very smooth stroke, very light on the water, and uses her kick to her advantage. I actually had the opportunity to watch her swim at one of the big meets that the clan had back in December when I was the team manager. We went down to Federal Way, Washington, and I was able to watch her in the 1650 because it was a yards pool, so that would be equivalent to 1,500 meters. And she was just amazing in that, and I believe she won the event. I can't remember 100%, but she did very well overall. Claudia as well had a very good swim meet down there. She's looking very strong. She's in second place right now and trying to catch up to Kristen there.
Claudia is a very traditional distance swimmer. You can see she doesn't use her legs quite as much and relies a lot on her upper body. She'll probably bring her legs into the equation in the last quarter of the race. But for right now, she's saving energy by having a really high body position and not having to use her legs quite as much. Kristen is a little bit more new age. You can see she is maintaining a little bit of a 6-beat kick, so a very strong, steady kick behind her with really powerful arms, but she's not relying solely on her upper body throughout this race.
These distance people, Alex and I were never one of them. We were kind of back in my first year when we had to swim with Dimitri, one of our old coaches. However, these are a different breed of swimmers. These guys have long distance practices all the time, have very hard sets, a lot of heavy freestyle sets, a lot of heavy pull sets, but it's working to their advantage right now since we're 1-2 going into, I'm thinking this is 300 meters.
We're coming to the 300 meter mark here. So they're almost at the halfway point, and that's where you begin to pick up the stroke rate. It's a little bit mentally easier at that point. You know you're halfway through the race and you're ready to continue from there on. Claudia's in a bit of a race with lane 2. I'm not sure if she can see her, but we'll watch her pick up as she comes in towards the first half of that race. So Claudia is starting to bring in the legs just a little bit as she comes off the wall, little spurts of kick here and there, but she has a very strong pull and a really nice body position that makes swimming for her really easy.
Alex said earlier that it might be not 100% sure if Claudia can see the girl in lane 2. This is most likely because of the way our pool is built. There's lots of windows on the one side and creates a little bit of a glare, as well as the distance between lane 5 and 2 is a little bit as well. So it might be really hard for Claudia to see her, but it looks like Claudia picked it up a little bit and is pulling a bit away from her again.
So Claudia here is one of our seniors, and she, like I said earlier, has been a pleasure to train with. She got very sick in her junior year of school and ended up taking off the second half of the season. And sometimes with swimming, it's hard to recover from that. It's hard to recover from illness, and it's hard to make up the time lost because swimmers train between 30 and 40 hours a week. It's a full-time job, really. And when you miss a huge chunk of the season, sometimes it's hard to bring back that aerobic endurance, especially for the distance swimmers. But Claudia worked super hard from September right through to December, had an amazing training camp, and it's starting to show here. She is right back around her best times, and it's almost as if she was never sick and never took that time off.
Exactly. And it's hard not even just physically, but mentally. After you get that little taste of a break, it's pretty hard to go back to it. But she was able to find the energy and find the motivation from her team, because swimming on the swim team is like the best thing on the planet. Everybody's so nice and happy, and it's like a really good environment, and Claudia just didn't want to give that up quite yet, so she came back for her senior year and was able to push through, and like Alex said, she's doing really well, getting really close to her personal best times.
Kristen's about to come into the 500 meter mark, and at this point, this is where the race starts to go downhill, and I mean that in a positive manner. It's mentally easier. You know you're well into the second half of the race, and you can pick it up, and this is where people really start to make a move. So you can see even lane 2 from Seattle U. She's starting to pick up her stroke rate a little bit, bringing into her legs. Similar swimming to Claudia, actually. Her legs aren't really too much a part of the equation. Her body position is a little bit lower than Claudia's, so she might be struggling using more of her upper body than Claudia will. So we'll see if Claudia actually has a little more gas in her tank at the end of the race than lane 2. But if lane 2 is able to see Claudia, because she is actually not facing towards the window, so it might be easier when she breathes to her left-hand side for her to see Claudia than it will be for Claudia to see her. And sometimes having a little bit of extra room, so she has about 250 meters now to actually catch Claudia in lane 5. It might be a slow pick at it, but she may be able to actually get her. But if Claudia is able to catch a glimpse of her, she may be able to hold her off for the last bit of the race.
Looks like Claudia is about to pick up her kick here. She's done it on the last couple walls. Yeah, she's getting a little burst of kick to try to get that little bit of advantage over lane 2. But it's turning out to be a really good race.
We have Kristen in lane 3 who continues to pull away from the rest of the pack. She actually may lap the girls in lane 6 and lane 4, which is a pretty big deal in an 800-meter race. It's not quite, obviously, as long as the 1,500 meter. She's just looked smooth and strong the whole time. I had the pleasure of helping them out at training camp this year, and the morning practices tended to be distance and aerobic sets. So that's where they really put in the meters and a lot of the mileage to be able to maintain pace throughout a set, like a race like this. Kristen was one of those swimmers who was very smart, a little cautious on the sets in the beginning. Maybe wouldn't go all out in the beginning, but she was smart about the way she swam and was just carrying through, improving with every set throughout every practice, and had an amazing training camp. She actually was sick at training camp as well, so came in at a little bit of a disadvantage, but managed to step up for her team at the end with that dual meet against the University of Hawaii.
Like you said, being sick at training camp, sometimes it's really hard. I've been there before. I'm sure you have too, Alex. It's hard to push through and find the energy when you're training up to like 12K, 16K a day. It's very hard to find the energy, especially when you're sick, to continue through that. But I'm sure Kristen seems like that type of girl who, even though she was sick, she just pushed through and was able to find that energy and keep going, and finished off a training camp on a good note. And as you can tell, it's paid off because she's almost 20 seconds ahead of Claudia, who's in second place here, who is again pulling away from the SFU girl the Seattle U girl in lane 2.
For our listeners who maybe know a little bit more about track and field or about distance running than they do about swimming, it's about a 4-time conversion between a running race and a swimming race. So 100 meters in running would be, or 100 meters in swimming is the equivalent of running 400 meters. So when swimmers are talking about swimming 12 to 15K a day, that's about 48 to 60K of running equivalent on your body. It's extremely tough. It is a little bit easier to do because there's no gravity. There's not quite as many stress fractures that swimmers would get. But it is mentally demanding, and it's certainly physically demanding. But you can see where that training camp, those 10 days of training, pay off as Kristen just continues to pick up and is coming in and about to lap lane 4. She's
actually coming to the finish. Yeah. With a time of 9:11:43, which is a really good time.
That is an amazing time. That's a super fast in-season 800 time.
And we have Claudia here, who's finishing up the race, and she looks really strong. She's picked up the kick like you predicted before. Really strong, heading into the wall. Lane 2 is trying to see if she can get her, but Claudia's going to get it with a time of 9:31:2. So again, that's pretty close to her best time, and a really good race overall.
Really good way to start off the meet for this SFU swimmers here. 1-2 in the women's 800 and 2 big wins from the relays. So SFU will be in the lead here. Next up, we have the men's 800 freestyle. We have Andrew Winowski in lane 1, Mackenzie Hamill, who won the 1650 and was SFU's first ever NCAA champion in any sport.
Male champion,
pardon me. In any sport, and that was an amazing feat for him. Didn't actually win Male Athlete of the Year that year, but that's another topic for discussion. So we'll see how he does in this 800-meter freestyle. And we got Tim Winowski in lane 5.
His performance probably was probably the reason why, with others, why the men's swim team did win the team of the year.
Team of the year. So we're about to get underway here. This the 800 free for the men does have a little bit of the power component to it as well. It's not as long as the 1500, and it's certainly not as long as an open water swim, which is Tim Winowski's specialty. Tim was actually recruited for, I think, the Canadian national team for an open water swim a couple years ago down in New Mexico.
Yes. I think Mexico, not New Mexico.
That would make more sense.
Yeah.
Yep. But Tim is one of those swimmers. You'll watch the difference between Tim and Mac Hamill in lane 3. Mac is a little bit of a power swimmer and has to be a little more smart, whereas Tim can stay in that his all-out gear the whole time.
The entire time.
And it's actually Tim's younger brother, Andrew Wanowski, who's a rookie and is swimming in lane 1. And they have another younger brother, Alex Wanowski, who will likely come to SFU in a couple of years' time. So we're off to a good start. Seattle U's just ahead, but you'll watch the swimmers watching each other as they swim. No one wants to pick it up just yet because you don't want to run out of gas in the second half of that race.
Back when I was the team manager in Washington, I was able to watch, and I'm almost 100% sure that it was Tim, Andrew, and Mac all in the final of the 1650 on the Sunday night. And man, that was a great race to watch. All three of them, just like they all are right now. We're kind of like looking at each other, feeling each other out, and then every once in a while there's like a little bit of a burst of speed to try to get the lead and hold on to it. And it ended up being a great race. And I'm pretty sure Mac ended up winning the race, but Andrew and Tim also did a really good job and came second and third.
You'll watch the difference between Mac and Tim, and even Tim and Andrew as well. Mac and Andrew are able to get into that second gear of speed. They're able to pick up the stroke rate, pick up the kick when it comes down to being in a race. Tim needs to go out fast and be in a lead because he knows that he's not the type of swimmer who can get into that second gear of speed and stroke rate to catch other swimmers or try and pull away. So we have Mac, he's holding off on the kick a little bit here, but he's maintaining a nice long stroke, super powerful. He's an awesome puller. So when we do pull sets where you have a puller between your legs, you don't use your legs at all, Mac is by far the fastest in the pool. Whereas Tim is maintaining a super high stroke rate and a really high body position, just a completely different swimmer, a completely different animal than Mac is.
Mac has a 3/4 catch-up, which that means that just about as his one hand gets to his head, that's when he starts his pull. And so that's going to save some energy at the end there for him to get a little bit burst of speed and hopefully pull away or see how big of a lead he can get or how good of a race this will turn out to be. So yeah, Mac is saving a little bit more energy for the second half, whereas again, Tim is more of that constant swimmer and he'll be this similar speed the whole way through. Andrew is more like Mac as well, and he'll be able to pick up the speed a little bit on the second half. This gentleman in lane 4 from Seattle U is doing a really good job and making the SFU swim team work here a little bit for getting the points.
You can watch lane 4 watching Mac, and he's breathing. He double breathed into the walls. Maybe take a look at Tim. You can also watch the distance swimmers. They're breathing every second stroke. And it is a little bit of a longer race. It's a good way to maintain the oxygen flow in your body and not lose your breath. Well, whereas you'll see in the 200 and the 100, and especially the 50 freestyle, the swimmers will breathe barely at all. The 200, they might have a little bit of a breathing pattern, but the 100 and the 50, they will be breathing every 5 or every 7. You'll watch the best swimmers in the world maybe take 2 breaths in an entire 50. And in the 100, they'll breathe every 3 or every 5. But in the longer distance events like this, it's really important to maintain a breathing pattern, and it helps you maintain that rhythm, that stroke rate, that stroke length that will help you carry on throughout the entire race.
And the reason why a lot of people breathe every 2 is because when you are breathing to one side, like you said, you're in that rhythm. But if you were breathing every 3, it's kind of changing sides, and you have to change your energy a little bit. So it's much easier to breathe every 2.
The breathing every 2 is called unilateral breathing, so you're only breathing to one side, and you'll watch a lot of people who are right-handed. They'll breathe towards the left, so their ear is on their right shoulder, and it's a little bit more natural for them to breathe that way. And you'll watch sprinters tend to be more bilateral swimmers, so they can actually breathe quite easily on either side of their body. It helps maintain there's no overdeveloped muscles there.
Exactly.
They won't get as injured, but they also don't swim quite as much or quite have the mileage that the distance swimmers do. Tim Wanowski is starting to pull away a little bit from the rest of the pack here. And Mac has a decision to make at this point, and it's, do you put in the effort to catch Tim and win the event, or do you just try and stay in front of the Seattle U? Because there's no difference in the points for your team. There's just a little bit of pride on the line.
We're going into the 500-meter mark when they are on the approach back here. The 300 meters left, just like in the previous. It's kind of getting towards that home stretch. You can see the finish line. you're be able to find some energy, and we can see that both Mac and Tim, as well as Andrew, have all picked it up, and they are actually 1, 2, 3, and they're only about 3 seconds apart from. So it's Tim in first, Mac in second, and Andrew in third, but it's all a very close race and very tight.
Andrew Winowski may actually be catching Mac at this point. His kick and his stroke rate starting to move a lot more water, and his kick has picked up a lot. You can see the splashes behind him, a lot higher rate on the kick as well. I don't think the Seattle U swimmer will be catching them at this point. He's starting to look a little bit tired, whereas Andrew may catch Mac, and eventually he may even catch his older brother Tim. So I think at this point the boys they all train together as well. They're all in the same group, and that can breed a very competitive environment for these swimmers.
For sure.
There's a lot of pride on the line. They'll never bring it up in practice, but you know who's won the event at the last dual meet when you all swim the same event. And Andrew is really starting to pick it up. You can see he's breathing towards Mac and Tim. He can most likely see Mac, probably can't see his older brother, but at this point I think he's going to be trying to make a move up on Mac and try and move with that second
And
spot.
Mac just made a move on Tim and closed the gap a little bit.
At this point, it's all SFU. They may even lap the Seattle U swimmer in lane 2. These boys, for them at this point, it's just a race between the three of them. Andrew may have fallen off a little bit on that last turn as Mac has started to pick up the pace as well. He probably caught a glimpse of Andrew. But this will end up being a really good race. Mac has actually caught Tim. They are almost tied at their 1/100th of a second apart on that turn. Mac just ahead of Tim. 1/100th of a second is not a lot, but it still puts you in first.
And we're heading into the last 5 lengths of the pool here now. So it's going to be a really good race to the end here. It's going to be very close on who wins. And Andrew falling a little bit behind, but still looking really strong. You can see how long his strokes are. Andrew is well over 6 feet tall, compared to his brother, who's probably just under 6 feet or just at 6 feet. So yeah, the younger brother is taller than the older brother. And here we go. Mac just pulled ahead of Tim, and we're heading into the last 3 lengths. It's going to be a really close race, and Mac just lapped the guy in lane 2, and we're heading into the last final leg here. It's running for home base now.
At this point in the race, you can watch Andrew Winowski. The thing about distance swimming too is when you know you got a lot left in the race and you start to fall behind, at that point it becomes a mental game. It's not that you don't have room to catch up. It's just when you can see someone else's splashes from their kick, it's hard to make that mental decision to catch that person. And it's really easy to go either way on that point. It's like, do I make the effort to do this when I know I have 3 or 4 more races coming up? Or do I maintain where I am here because I know I'm in 3rd spot and I'm scoring points for my team?
Here we go, the finish. Mac's coming into the wall. That'll be 1st place for Mac Hamill, 2nd place for Tim Winowski, and 3rd place for Andrew Winowski. So SFU swept that event, winning 1, 2, and 3. Mac Hamill had a time of 8:18.56, which is a very strong time for him.
That's holding about 102 per 100, which is a very fast pace to be holding in season, especially with a Seattle team that is prepping for their conference, most likely their final meet. The Seattle is quite likely in that stage of taper where they're not quite feeling good yet, but they're just getting into it, so they're changing the program a little bit, less volume. We can expect to see either them stepping up and swimming very fast, or they might be a little bit fatigued here.
Taper, just for people who are not 100% sure on what taper is, it's more of a resting period in between some hard training and a really big swim meet.
Yes.
So you're always going to have a lot of hard training leading around Christmas time. It's a lot of, especially for university.
Yeah.
It's a very big thing to have a lot of hard training so that they go into this championship season that's fast approaching and getting to that. Our SFU is not attending a conference meet this year. They have a swim meet down in Portland in 2 weekends, which will be a slight rest, not a taper, but Seattle has started their taper for their championship meet down in Houston.
Next up, we have the women's 200-meter freestyle. It's 8 lengths to the pool. We have Lauren Swistak, our senior, in lane 3, and Megan Barrick, a junior, in lane 5.
There's going to be 2 heats of this event, actually. So this will be the A event. So this will be the event that is actually counted for points. The next heat that follows after this is we actually have no SFU swimmers in it, just Seattle, and they're doing it as an exhibition, so no points are counted.
So they can't score points on that, and they're swimming it like they did Gretna last good solid 200 free before they move on to their best events into conference meets. So Lauren is out. Lauren Swistak in lane 3 is out in a 29.64. It's good to be out under 30. That's kind of the benchmark split for any kind of freestyle event, for anything over a 200, that is. Being out under a 30, especially in season, is a really good start. We'll see if she can hold on in the second half of this race. We can watch the difference between this type of swimming and a distance type of swimming. Lauren's kick and her stroke rate are high and strong the whole time throughout the entire race, and the key to a good 200 is maintaining and maybe even trying to pick up on the last quarter of the race, that last 50.
And compared to Mac back in the 800, who had more of a catch-up freestyle, Lauren, you can see as the one hand is entering the water, the other one has already been pulled down past her hips, and so it's a very fast cycle, and she's able to continue this very good lead with Megan Barrick, who is now in second, who also looks very strong.
Megan has a very relaxed type of stroke. It never looks like she's putting in a good very much effort, but that's usually the sign of a very good swimmer. You watch the Olympics, and a lot of people think, "Oh yeah, I can do that," because they make it look so easy. Yeah. So Megan Barrick here is actually putting in a 100% effort. You can tell by the rate of her stroke and the rate of her kick, but she's making it look so easy, and she does that through an amazing body position. Being higher in the water, so using your core muscles and your legs to be high up in the water as opposed to sinking low makes swimming a lot easier. There's less drag, and you're more hydrodynamic in the water when you start to swim like that.
Here we go for the touch. Lauren Swistak with a time of 2:07.1. Not a too bad of a time, and winning the event. And looks like Megan Barrick in lane 5 came in third, just getting out touched by the girl in lane 4. A very close race and a very good race overall for the SFU women.
So first and third again will keep them ahead in the lead in points throughout the rest of this meet.
Currently, the points are, according to our scoreboard, the women, SFU women are at 24 points, where the Seattle U women are at 12 points. So we're winning by over 50%. And the men are at 27 points for SFU, and Seattle is at 9.
So we're actually tripling Seattle's score in this. Last weekend in Seattle, the men's score, the Seattle men actually doubled our men's score. So it's nice to see a little bit of a turn of events in here. But like we mentioned earlier, the longer distance events seem to favor our Canadian swimmers, and the longer pool as well seems to favor our swimmers.
As well as the home pool advantage. It's always last week the Seattle team went down to, or last week the SFU swim team went down to Seattle to race down there, and this weekend Seattle came up here, and so there's always a home pool event. You always feel better at your home pool. You're always going to race a little bit faster and such.
And you have your friends, your family, your fellow students coming out to support you at your home meets. And so definitely having the home crowd makes a big difference as well when you're standing behind the blocks. And if you're a little nervous for an event and know that you have the support of your teammates as well as your fellow student athletes, it really makes a big difference.
Okay, we're going to take a short break and be right back.
From court to court and lane to lane, under the lights or under the sun, no one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub, with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours, the home of Division II college sports.
When I first came to SFU, I thought I knew exactly what I wanted. When I got into my second semester, I suddenly wasn't so sure what I wanted to do anymore. So I started to explore a little bit. Archaeology, communications, history, even kinesiology. And then I decided to go on exchange to France for a year. I was an orientation leader for a year, became a community advisor in residence, helped start a choir. I even took a rowing course. After SFU, I have lots of possibilities of what I could do, but whatever I do, I know I'll be ready for it.
One team,
400 athletes strong.
We sing not one,
but 2 national anthems.
We strive to always be better.
we put our heart into competition.
We pursue national championships and university degrees.
We care about our communities.
We are
Canada's NCAA team.
Canada's NCAA team.
Canada's NCAA team.
We are Canada's NCAA team.
Okay, up next is the men's 200-meter freestyle. Again, there will be 2 heats of this event. However, only the first heat will be scoring, and only the first heat is people from SFU competing. So in lane 1, we have Benny Greeno. In lane 3, we have Rolando Hernandez. And lane 5, his first appearance of today, Daniel Killmaster. All very strong men, very big freestylers overall.
This is Benny Greeno's first year at SFU. I think he was at Western in his previous years, and just loved the atmosphere and the excitement that being in the NCAA adds to swimming. It definitely is a completely different atmosphere. Brandon and I can both speak to this between age group Canadian swimming and then the NCAA. Your mindset shifts from a little bit more from being an individual, a little bit of a selfish type of mentality where it's all about you and how you're racing and about you and your coach and that dynamic, to being about I have to step up for my team. I have people who are relying on me at this point. Despite them swimming individual events, they're scoring points for their team, and it does make a huge difference in personality. And you'll see a lot of people who will step up for relays and step up in events that maybe are their off events. So going into the halfway mark there, we have Rolando Hernandez, and he's pushing off first with a time of 56.57. That's a really good split, but we have lane 4 who's starting to make a move in the second half of that race.
As well as lane 2 here. It's a very close race for first, second, and third. Seattle's putting a lot of strength into this one, and Rolando is going to try to hold on for 50 more meters and trying to catch the gentleman in lane 4, as well as hold off the gentleman in lane 2.
So Rolando, from my understanding, is a distance swimmer. So you watch him as he's going to try and maintain on this last 50. But that Seattle U swimmer is just big and strong and clearly a 200 freestyler as he pushes off into this last length, and he's going to try and pick it up. You can see the kick. He's trying to maintain stroke rate, and he continues to pull away from Rolando and his fellow teammate from Seattle U in lane 2. Very
strong stroke, and going into the final touch here, looks like Seattle's going to win with Rolando getting second with a time of 1:57.01, and lane 5, Daniel Killmaster getting a time of 1:59, and Benny just over 2 minutes there.
So good swims from all of the SFU men. They stepped up for that race. It looked really good. It looked really strong, but the 200 free can go by very quickly. Sometimes it's over before you know it, and if you don't make a move in time, or you don't see your competitor, like Rolando was breathing the opposite way, maybe couldn't see lane 4 make a move on that third 50, it's hard to maintain and hard to keep up at that point, especially in such a power event. It is shorter. It is a shorter event, so if you've put a little bit too much effort in the first half, you're really going to struggle.
We're going to take another quick short break here and be right back.
Until we all will shine. see your ways. When I've come to the places I'm going, I will know your ways. When I'm wiser and growing taller, I will see your ways. When I've come to the places I'm going, I will know your ways.
Awesome. We are back now. Just taking a short break while those Seattle men try to improve their times heading into their conference meet. Up next, we have the women's 50-meter freestyle. This is a very fast event, so stay tuned because if you blink, you might miss it. In lane 1, we have Charlene Hugh, who is one of our seniors on the swim team. I've swam with her my entire her entire time that she's been at SFU until I retired last year. Elaine Lamb in lane 3, and Megan Franks, which is an unusual event
unusual choice for
her,
coach.
But it seems like maybe she's gonna try and see how well she does.
So this is one of those events, like I was mentioning earlier, where you're going to reduce the breathing. You're not going to breathe so much because it might interrupt the stroke rate. It is hard to actually try and breathe and have a really fast stroke rate. So putting that breathing in there is actually quite a tough skill to master, and it's one of the things that Elaine is very good at. You can watch when she takes a breath. It's such a quick, short breath. She may not. Oh, there you go. I was gonna say she may not even breathe. She's just second heading into that first 25, but Elaine is a very strong swimmer. Actually, Megan Franks is doing quite well too. She's breathing every 2, which is really unusual for a 50 freestyle.
And Charlene, our senior, looks very strong there on the end. She had a battle of pneumonia actually last year, and so missed quite a lot of training. But again, just like Claudia, pushed through and was able to come back.
Really good swim for Elaine. Awesome second 25 there. She wins the event in a time of 28:07. Megan Franks was 5th in a time of 29:38, and Charlene Hugh was 6th in a time of 29:87.
Up next is a little another one of the Seattle heats that's being ran. It'll just be a quick 30-second race here. And then we're going to get set up for the men's 50-meter freestyle, which will be a very exciting race. We have Graham Campbell, Gabe Lee, and Andreas, who is a rookie this year, who all are very strong. Graham and Andreas both trained with our coach Sib in the later evening practices. And Gabe is one of the sprinters who trains with Coach Liam Donnelly.
It is actually a little funny of like the group decisions. So what group you get put in? We have 3 groups here at SFU: the distance group, a middle distance and stroke group, and a sprint group. And you'll see a lot of crossover. You might get a lot of middle distance swimmers in the sprint group, but because of their, they may be a jack of all trades. Like Gabe Lee, for example, technically a 200 flyer and a 200 backstroker, but can swim a very strong 50 free. He is a very strong swimmer and a very strong person. And same with Graham Campbell, who was formerly in the distance group and has been recently moved into the middle distance group, and it's working wonders for him. He's become a very good 200, 400, and 100 freestyler, and they've put him in the 50 to see what he can do. He is a racer. Graham loves to race. You'll watch him at the end of practice.
He's very competitive.
He is very competitive. There's a couple of boys at the end of the practices who will just race each other just for length and for pride on the line there. This is a splash and dash, and Americans tend to be very good at the 50 free, especially on the men's side. Very big, strong swimmers. So we'll see how well our SFU men measure up against the Seattle U. We're about to get underway here. Gabe Lee you'll watch him off the blocks, and he'll try and use very strong, fast underwater dolphin kicks to pull ahead, as that is his strength and his forte. Graham will come up and start swimming a little bit quicker, as he's a very strong swimmer.
Graham is a person who goes up very fast at the beginning.
And that's exactly what you need to do. You need to have that complete anaerobic system ready to go in a 50 freestyle. There's no room for really any tactical measure here. But you'll watch the best sprinters, and they'll actually pull away towards the end of the race. So it's a very good race for first year between Gabe and Lane 4. Lane 4 just takes it in a time of 23:67, and Gabe comes second in a time of 23:91. Very close, really good race. It was right down to the wire there.
Exactly.
Really exciting. 50 free is one of the most fun and exciting races to watch.
Not one of my best things to do. I am not a sprinter whatsoever. Alex here was a very good sprinter though overall, and did really well on all the relays at NCAAs and everything at the championship meets.
It's a lot of fun to step up for the relays there, and with those relay takeovers, there's nothing quite like being on a relay, and a relay at a championship meet as well, where everyone's peaked, everyone's shaved and tapered, and everyone's ready to step up for their teammates. It's the closest that swimming gets to being a team sport, a true team sport, where you're all swimming the same lane, you're swimming the same event, and you're stepping up for your teammates. We have another exhibition heat here of the Seattle University men. As Brandon mentioned earlier, they're probably just trying to get in some, either improve their best events or get in some off events before they head into their conference meet where they will swim all of their best events, shaved and tapered. And so it's a quick 30-second break before we see any SFU swimmers back in again.
Which will be the women's 200 IM, it looks like. This is a pretty long call without a little 10-minute break during a dual meet here. A lot of distance events have been ran. A lot of people have swam already twice without having a break. So it's curious on how well this next event will go. But we have Kristen, who won the 800 just recently, Jessie, who was on that winning relay at the beginning, as well as Sydney Peak making her debut for the first time this weekend at this swim meet. She is a junior on the swim team this year. I swam with her. She's a breaststroker, 200 IMer, very strong girl who's able to do very well. This is going to be a really good race.
This will be an awesome race, and this is the point of the meet where you kind of forget about your times and your personal best times, and you go to just swim to race, because everyone's in the same boat here where they've swam multiple events and they're starting to get a little bit fatigued. So it ends up being a battle of mentality and that mental toughness.
So for everybody who's not quite 100% sure on what IM is, it stands for individual medley. So earlier in the program we had medley relay. This one is a little bit different. So it's all 4 strokes again, but a different order than what the medley relay is. So as you can see, the girls are doing butterfly here, and they're going to do 2 lengths of every stroke. So 2 lengths of butterfly, and then they're going to touch the wall and go into 2 lengths of backstroke, followed by 2 lengths of breaststroke, and then finish with 2 lengths of freestyle.
You'll watch IM. It is a very interesting race to watch because you'll watch people like Jessie Gibson, who are extremely strong butterflyer and backstrokers. Jessie's out in a 29.4. That's an awesome first 50, not shaved or tapered and coming off of training camp. Even if she was shaved and tapered, that is an impressive first 50 of butterfly. And she'll continue to pull away because backstroke is another one of her best strokes. But you'll watch very strong breaststrokers make a move on that third 50. And it is frustrating if you are not a breaststroker.
Yes, Alex and I know all about that. It was really, you go out so strong that first 100 meters and you're like, wow, I'm doing so well, like I'm in the lead. And then all of a sudden that breaststroke leg hits and it's a little bit tougher.
It is a little bit tougher. It's hard to maintain, and breaststrokers will make awesome moves, and I bet you anything, lane 4 is a very strong breaststroker.
As you can see,
she will try and catch Jessie.
Making a move on Jessie here. Sydney Peak is not far behind. She's a very strong breaststroker, so she's going to try to move up here, and she looks like she's in 3rd right now, so try to keep that 3rd place.
It's important for Jessie on this breaststroke as well, if it's not her strongest stroke, to maintain a high stroke rate and be high in the water, as well as have an awesome underwater pull, which she did. Jessie also happens to be an amazing freestyler, so I doubt that she will allow this Seattle U swimmer pass her into going into the freestyle, but the Seattle U swimmer touches first. She made up for like almost a 6-second deficit there on that one leg, so you can see where breaststrokers really have the advantage in IM. But Jessie is breathing towards her left-hand side, watching the Seattle U swimmer. We're coming to the very close race of the day, actually, and So Jessie's going to try and make a move here, but we'll see if she can catch lane 4.
It's very
she might
close
do
here.
It, yeah.
It's going to come right down to the finish. Sydney Peak does not look too bad over there in lane 5 as well.
Jessie may touch first. Jessie wins it in 4/100ths of a second.
Very
good.
close.
Yeah.
Very good time. And Sydney Peak here touching in 3rd in lane 5 with a time of 2:25.
Really good swims from both girls, and Kristen Olivet comes in 5th in time of 2:32.6 with a really strong last 50 of freestyle. You can tell again, her being a distance swimmer, that last leg of freestyle was her bread and butter. That's her forte.
We're just going to take another short little break here and be right back.
A true champion puts every ounce of sweat and effort into the goal. Find your passion, become one with it, and great things will happen. I am Kevin Vigna, and I am ready for the new season.
Fear can either drive us back or push us forward to play harder and stronger. To uncover your true potential, you must first find your own limits and then have the courage to blow past them. I am Cruz Velasquez, and I am ready for the new season.
A champion pushes to the point of exhaustion when nobody else is looking. It's not about who you are, it's about who you can become. I am Meg Wilson, and I am ready for the new season.
The road to greatness is not marked by perfection, but by the ability to constantly overcome adversity and failure to get better. So never give up and never give in. I am Ben Meinecker, and I am ready for the new season.
Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. A successful team beats with one heart and believes in one goal together. I'm Caitlin Earhartson, and I'm ready for the new season.
From court and lane to lane, under the lights or under the sun, no one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub, with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours, the home of Division II college sports.
When I first came to SFU, I thought I knew exactly what I wanted. When I got into my second semester, I suddenly wasn't so sure what I wanted to do anymore. So I started to explore a little bit. Archaeology, communications, history, even kinesiology. And then I decided to go on exchange to France for a year. I was an orientation leader for a year, became a community advisor in residence, helped start a choir, I even took a rowing course. After SFU, I have lots of possibilities of what I could do, but whatever I do, I know I'll be ready for it.
And we are back. We're getting ready for the men's 200 IM now. Keenan Elliott will be in lane 1, our senior, our only male senior of the year. Adrian Vanderhelm will be in lane 3, one of the fastest 200 IMers SFU has probably ever seen. And James Cormier, who was a very good IMer over here in lane 5.
I believe James actually won the 200 IM at Clan Cup this past year with a very good time. He went 2:03. As soon as you get around to that 2-minute mark in IM, you're starting to get to be world class. We're just about to get underway as the men dive into the water. As Brandon mentioned earlier, the first 2 lengths are butterfly, and it's really important to set yourself up well in the butterfly. Put yourself in a good spot to race. Adrian Vanderhelm has a very strong butterfly and backstroke, very similar to Jesse Gibson, and a weaker breaststroke leg, but he's worked really hard to minimize his weakness there. So having a really good underwater pull and really fast turns makes a big difference in a 200 IM.
Watching Adrian over the last 3 years, you can definitely tell that he's been really working on that breaststroke and doing a really good job to improve it and make his weakest link a little bit stronger.
James is a little bit more of a distance swimmer, and he would probably take the 400 IM. But you can watch him as he'll try and make his move coming off the backstroke into the breaststroke, as will Keenan. Keenan's also a very strong breaststroker. A little bit weaker on the freestyle, and that's where James will try and make his move, most likely on the swimmer in lane 4.
This is a really good race shaping up right now. Usually, as you could see from the other races, there's about like 1 or 2 people who pull ahead, but it's kind of all over the place right now. It looks like Adrian's in first, Seattle in second, and maybe third. It's a very close race for third here. It's going to be a really good race to see where SFU finishes and where Seattle finishes.
It'll be a tight race for sure for third. I think Adrian will hold on to that first spot, although lane 4 is making a move and trying to catch Adrian on this breaststroke leg. But as we can see, James Cormier is also trying to make a move and pull up a little bit ahead on the breaststroke.
Keenan over there in lane 1 has also pulled up a little bit because of his strong breaststroke. Very good. And here we go for Adrian heading into the last 50. It's going to be no problem.
There's no catching him now.
Yeah.
Adrian has awesome underwaters. He's really disciplined in maintaining going 5 or 10 meters off every wall for a full 200. That takes a lot of discipline, a lot of mental toughness, and a really strong lung capacity to be able to do that in a 200-meter IM.
He's coming in to the finish here, and he'll have a pretty decent time of 2:04.05. Looks like Keenan Elliott will touch in third, sorry. Oh, but it's a very close race. But there he does do third there for a time of 2:12.82, and James finishes in 6th in lane 5. There's going to be a short break for the swimmers, but we are able to join for having Claudia, one of our seniors, is here joining us today to talk a little bit about her swimming experience.
Hi.
Hi, Claudia. How's the meet gone so far for you today?
Good. I swam the 800 free.
Yep.
And I had so much fun. I don't know why. That was a really good 800 for me, especially for a dual meet. It was a second slower than my Clan Cup time. So that's not bad.
That's really good for in-season.
Yeah.
Really good.
Can you explain to us the difference between a meet like Clan Cup and then a dual meet for you in an 800?
So I would say personally, in a dual meet, an 800 free is kind of like training. You're trying to get the pace that you want, just working out all the little kinks in that race. And then when it comes to swimming like Clan Cup, you want to execute everything that you've been practicing.
Perfectly, yeah. And so you are a senior. This is your final dual meet at SFU. How are you feeling today?
I woke up and it just hit me. Honestly, like all this week it was fine, and then this morning I woke up and I was like, wow. And I got texts from my friends saying good luck and just have a great senior meet, and I was like, wow, this is actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
So how many years have you been swimming for?
I started swimming when I was 7, so about 14, 15 years.
Awesome. That's a pretty good chunk of time.
Yeah. So the better portion of your life has been spent in a pool.
Yeah.
And can you maybe touch a little bit on the difference between like what coming to SFU was like for you and how the team has helped you as a swimmer and maybe even as a person?
I've grown so much with this team, and it's just, I don't know, it's amazing. I can't even begin to describe what this team means to me. Like, it's just out of the pool, in the pool, what I've learned from everyone, the coaches, my friends, just how to be a better person overall.
We get a lot of comments of swimmers of talking about the SFU swim team being like a family, and I think personally for you, I had the pleasure of swimming with you for a couple years as a varsity swimmer, and I think you really embodied that making that team, putting the team above yourself and making it like a family. Do you think you're going to be a little emotional when we have that senior ceremony?
I think so.
Yeah.
I've already started to tear up a little bit here and there, so yeah, I'm sweating already.
Yeah.
It's all good. Tears are good.
Yeah.
Tears
are
of joy.
good. Happy tears. Yeah. It's tough. So are you excited to be done swimming and move on to the next chapter of your life, or do you think you're going to miss it a little bit?
It's bittersweet. I'll definitely miss it because, like you said, it's been 15 years, 14 years of my life that I'm in the pool. I'm always thinking about swimming no matter where I am. And then to just completely stop, like, it's going to be crazy. I don't know what I'm going to do.
You're going to enjoy some free time. You're going to enjoy sleeping in.
Yeah.
From personal experience, I was in the same boat you were in last year. Alex 2 years ago at this kind of meet. It's very nice to just kind of relax for a little bit after.
No, for sure.
Yeah, having those few weeks to yourself, it'll hit you after that.
Yeah.
But and then, so your peak meet will be in Portland, correct? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my glasses. Sorry, 1 second.
Glasses are fogging up.
Yeah, getting too excited. Yeah, so in 2 weeks it'll be my big meet, and I think it's gonna be in Victoria, and then that'll be it. I've got 2 more sessions, and then I'm done.
So you guys are not going down to Portland anymore?
No, we're gonna do Victoria instead.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that'll be a good battle, a good matchup between SFU and UVic. Similar teams, similar, I would say, dynamics of teams.
Definitely.
You'll have a lot of good distance swimmers to race there for sure. Do you know what events you're swimming yet?
Well, before when I talked to Corey last week, the 800 and the 1500 were on 2 separate days, but then he just told me actually that they're going to be on the same day. So I have to choose which one I want to do, either the 15 or the 800 free.
And which one are you leaning more towards right now?
I think the 15, just because I've done the 1000, I've done the 800, I've done the 1650, so 1500 is left to do this year, just to close it off well, so I think I might do that one.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
Yeah.
And the 1500, I think, was probably your best event coming into SFU. Yeah. Talk to us a little bit about a 1500. What's it like swimming a 1500?
Honestly, it's not that bad. As a distance swimmer, it's not that bad because you get into a groove, you understand that something can actually happen in the race. Like in a shorter race, if you're out first, most likely you're going to be first. But in a distance event, you can die. You can just, if you're out first, you can come dead last. Anything can happen in that like 15 minutes period. Anything could happen, and that's what I love about the distance.
We were talking about that a little bit, where we weren't sure if in your 800 if you were able to see lane 2 and if she was going to pick up or not.
I didn't see her. But
Yeah, because we were figuring with the windows, she might be able to see you and you wouldn't be able to see her.
Yeah.
So it does. You can see when that person right next to you starts to drop off a little bit, and you're starting to make a move, and you make that mental decision to catch them. It is exciting.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but it's exciting.
It's definitely not for everyone.
Yeah.
Especially training distance is not for everyone.
Yeah, it's not a fun thing.
Yeah.
And Alex knows because she swam with a pretty hard distance coach for quite a few years.
Yep.
It's not an easy thing.
Yeah.
So, and you'll be finishing up your senior year with one of your best friends, Lauren Swistak, as well. Yeah. So, are you excited to be wrapping up with one of your best friends?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
We've gone through ups and downs and just. Oh, it's been amazing. I love her, and it's exciting.
What's it like to have your best friend be a senior? Because I had that experience as well, where I had 4 very close friends in a very strong senior class, and you and Lauren have really stepped up as leaders on the team as well as just in athletics. So what do you think it's going to be like with the two of you? Kind of like, are you trying to like groom some of the younger swimmers to take your places on the athletic council and as leaders on the team?
Yeah, I think definitely unconsciously we've talked to them and just kind of like help them take our places, I guess, but in a different way. You don't want them to be exactly like us. You want them to be able to bring their personality to be leaders. And I hope that I've left something behind for them, but we'll see. And I'm sure they're going to be great.
Well, Claudia, speaking from experience, there has been, you'll notice there's certain personalities when they do leave the team that you notice. And I think that I can speak for the rest of the team when you will be missed by the rest of your swimmers, especially the juniors and the sophomores who got to swim with you. I think you will leave big shoes to fill and a big hole on the team.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And so then the other 2 seniors, Charlene and Keenan, you didn't get to train with them much because Lauren was in your group. But it's also going to be sad leaving them too, right? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like I remember Charlene, my first year, we had morning practices were all girls. So Charlene and I, we were always in lane 6 every morning together. So I did get to train with her there, and I love Charlene. And then Keenan, we were on the same floor in residence first year. We grew up together, and it was, yeah.
That's awesome because you guys raced in Ontario together. Because your original town your hometown is Scarborough, right?
It is, yeah.
Oh, I got it right. Woo.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And then you're finishing up your degrees. So why don't you tell us quickly about your degree, and then we're going to wrap this up since you have to continue to go swim.
I'm in business, concentrating on marketing and HR, and after this semester, I'll have one more, so I'll be done in December.
Awesome.
And off to bigger and better things, hopefully.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So wrapping up the swimming career and the university career all kind of in one go.
Short period of time.
Yeah,
That's good for you.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Well, Claudia, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for joining us.
And
good luck for the rest of the meet. And we're
Talk
gonna
to
be
you soon.
excited to see you.
Yeah. All right. So it looks like the break is wrapping up a little bit here as well. So we took a quick 10-minute break to give the swimmers a chance to warm down, recover, maybe get something to eat, something to drink before we head into the second half of the meet. And we will also take a short break before we head into that next event.
Strong character is created little by little, day by day. It is pushing through physical and mental pain, agonizing losses, and repetitive practices. I am JJ Pankratz, and I am ready for the new season.
It's on us to stop sexual violence.
We are Canada's NCAA team.
With 400 student athletes in 17 sports.
Together, we can end sexual violence at SFU.
To look out for each other.
And not look the other way.
To get a friend home safe.
To not blame the victim.
It's on us.
It's on us.
To speak up.
To step in.
To support those who need it.
To be a part of the solution, not the problem.
It's on me, it's on you, it's on us.
Because consent matters.
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 Learn more about how you can contribute to a culture of zero tolerance towards sexual violence at SFU by visiting sfu.ca/sexual assault.
Because together, we can make a difference.
We are back. Welcome back. We took that quick short little break here. We're heading into the women's 200-meter butterfly. This is mine and Alex's specialty event, actually. More so mine than Alex's. And we have Lauren Swistak in lane 3 here and Alicia Kahn in lane 5.
Lauren Swistak was an All-American in this event at NCAA's last year and followed that performance up by making finals at Olympic trials last year. 2 awesome accomplishments for her. I know she struggled a little bit with race anxiety, as a lot of swimmers do, and she just worked so hard to overcome that personal challenge and really stepped up for her teammates at NCAA's and then for herself at Olympic trials. She's a very strong butterflyer. You can watch as her hips come really high out of the water on every single stroke. It makes it easier for fly to swim if you're using that rhythm and that maintenance of dolphin kick. It makes fly a lot easier because fly can become very difficult very quickly.
Yeah, this is probably one of the hardest events personally for me, and I swam it over and over, too many times to count over my swimming career. But it was, again, my specialty, and that pain that you get is just like, it's also like a high. Like, you just feel so good after.
Oh, I completely disagree with that statement. It is this thing.
If you get a good time, I guess.
It is. The thing about butterfly too is it, like I said earlier, it's a symmetrical stroke. So when the swimmer is completely finished the stroke at the back end, they are actually at a dead stop, and the thing that keeps them moving forward is their kick, and that's what makes it such a difficult stroke. There's nothing balancing you out in front like backstroke or freestyle. So unfortunately for butterfly, it's not one of those strokes where you can maybe take your foot off the gas a little bit and slow down to make it easier. You just have to keep going, keep pushing through, and they call it kind of when the train hits your back or the anvil falls on your back, because that is literally what it feels like.
Or one of our coaches, Coach Sib, says last year, I believe it was this swimming and I swam this event, Coach Sib told me that I looked like I got a piano thrown at me.
Yeah, that tends to be, and that's what it feels like as well. So Lauren Swistak is well ahead at the 150, and she's coming into the last 2 lengths of the race. Alicia Kahn has the opportunity here to potentially catch lane 4, who looks like she's falling off just a little bit, but she also maintains really high hit position, which makes fly a lot easier, but no one is catching Lauren Swistak in lane 3 as she's going to head towards the finish and what will be a really good time.
Yeah, overall this looks really good right now. Everybody looks super strong. Here we go for the finish with a time of 2:18.48, which is a very good in-season time for Lauren
really
Swistak.
good in-season dual meet time. And Alicia will touch, it looks like that was a soft touch, but she will touch third. It looks like that was probably around a 2:23, which is an awesome time for her. I think her best time is around 2:22 or 2:20. 2:20 is a benchmark time for the 200 fly, and when you're under that, especially in season, that's where you're starting to go places in the 200 meter butterfly.
Yeah, for Lauren Swistak, that was a very good race. Like pretty much, that's around what she swims anytime throughout the season when she's not on taper. It was a very good swim overall. Up next, we have another quick little break because there is just
an exhibition heat for the Seattle U 200 meter butterfly.
Champions keep working until they get it right. The more you dream, the harder you work, the farther you get. I'm Amadi Kamara, and I am ready for the new season.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
One team,
400 athletes strong.
We sing not one,
but 2 national anthems.
We strive to always be better.
we put our heart into competition.
We pursue national championships and university degrees.
We care about our communities.
We are
Canada's NCAA team.
Canada's NCAA team.
Canada's NCAA team.
We are Canada's NCAA team.
A true champion puts every ounce of sweat and effort into the goal. Find your passion, become one with it, and great things will happen. I am Kevin Vigna, and I am ready for the new season.
Champions keep working until they get it right. The more you dream, the harder you work, the farther you get. I'm Amadi Kamara, and I am ready for the new season.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
And we are back. Just about to start the men's 200-meter butterfly with Adrian Vanderhelm in lane 3 and Daniel Kilmaster in lane 5. Here's the start, looking very strong. One of Adrian's newer swims that he's added to his routine, I would guess you could call it.
Yep.
Usually he's more of a 200 IM or 200 freestyle, 100 freestyler, and the relays. However, NCAA rules changed a little bit this year, and you no longer can qualify a relay into NCAAs. So there's a lot more opportunity for individual swims in order to qualify for more. Alexandria, you would know more about this because you were able to swim only a certain number of events, including your relay, but now that's kind of taken away and you can qualify for more individual events.
You can qualify for more individual events and end up swimming more events, but this also means that as a team, you need 4 swimmers who are strong enough and are fast enough to qualify individually to have a relay. And like here, the relays at NCAAs are worth more points. And despite the fact that you can't qualify on the relay, you still want to have 4 very fast, very strong swimmers, especially in each stroke and each discipline, to qualify for these events. And it's Adrian, despite very rarely swimming the 200 fly as a varsity swimmer, does have a Canadian national standard in it, and is very strong at it. He maintains his dolphin kick and his rhythm throughout a race very well. You can watch it; hardly looks like he's tired. And Adrian also has a really nice underwater dolphin kick. It makes, similar to the way Michael Phelps has kind of changed the game with the 200 fly and the underwater dolphin kicks, because like we mentioned earlier, it just means less swimming. An underwater dolphin kick also is significantly faster than swimming itself.
Exactly.
The kicker is holding your breath for that amount of time. And then coming up and having to swim.
And not even just holding your breath, being able to have enough oxygen to get to your legs in order to power you through to get as far as Adrian is going through. He's about to finish and touching with a time of just over 2 minutes, 2:02:41, which is a really great time for a 200 fly.
That's a very fast in-season time. You're starting to get to a very high level when you swim a sub 2-minute 200 fly. Daniel Kilmaster comes 4th in that event with a time of 2:12:51, an excellent time for him. He looked strong throughout the entire race, was also maintaining a really nice stroke and looked strong the whole time.
Up next is the women's 100-meter freestyle. We got our senior, Charlene Hugh, who was also in the 50 free, and with her is her teammate Elaine Lamb, who again was in the 50 free and did very well, as well as Sydney Peak, who has posted one of the fastest times at SFU for the 100 free this year so far. So this is going to turn out to be a very good race, and it looks like Seattle has brought full force, and they have 3 swimmers as well in this. So it's a full pool, which we haven't seen much of today. So it'll be a very good race overall.
Elaine just came off the win of that 50 free. We'll see how she does in this 100. It is also being a sprint, but it is double the distance. So there is a little bit more strategy that goes into the 100 free, a little bit more breathing, and they definitely won't be going out at 100% effort in that first 50. The trick to a really strong 100 free is going out what they'll call easy speed. So it's going out super fast without putting in 100% effort, and then trying to maintain and pick up the effort, the stroke rate, the kick on the second half of the race. So we're coming into this first 50 here. Looks like Sydney has a slight advantage over lane 4 as well as Elaine, but lane 6 is right up there with the rest of the pack. Sydney flips and touches to her feet in a time of 29:24. As I mentioned earlier, going a sub 30 is pretty much, in a 100 free, it's the benchmark. It's where you want to be to set yourself up for a nice 100 freestyle swim.
Here we go. We're heading into the last 25 here. Sydney has picked it up and pulling it slightly away. However, it's a very close race. Lane 6 is in there, lane 4 as well as Elaine. It's a very good race, but it looks like Sydney's going to be able to hold off and touch with a time of 59:46. Very good time for her overall.
Very good time overall, and a really good in-season time. Elaine Lamb touches 4th in a time of 1:01:67, and Charlene Hugh comes 6th in a time of 1:04:92. Really nice swims, strong swims from these ladies coming off a tough weekend last weekend. as well as off of a training camp.
We're going to take another quick commercial break for about 45 seconds, and we'll be right back.
That's really good that you said.
Fear can either drive us back or push us forward to play harder and stronger. To uncover your true potential, you must first find your own limits and then have the courage to blow past them. I am Cruz Velasquez, and I am ready for the new season.
A champion pushes to the point of exhaustion when nobody else is looking. It's not about who you are, it's about who you can become. I am Meg Wilson, and I am ready for the new season.
One team,
400 athletes strong.
We sing not one,
but 2 national anthems.
We strive to always be better.
we put our heart into competition.
We pursue national championships and university degrees.
We care about our communities.
We are
Canada's NCAA team.
Canada's NCAA team.
Canada's NCAA team.
We are Canada's NCAA team.
And we are back, getting ready for the men's 100-meter freestyle. Again, another full pool. It's going to be a really good race. There's going to be lots of splashes, so you're going to have to keep your eye out for the swimmers itself. It's going to be a very close race overall. We got Benny in lane 1, Gabe in lane 3, and Graham Campbell from Edmonton, Alberta in lane 5.
Pretty close to your hometown?
Yeah, pretty close to my hometown. We're not fans of Edmonton people, but
where you're from?
Graham's a pretty decent guy
all right.
overall.
So this, like the women's 100 free, a little bit more tactical than the 50. It has a little bit more breathing, but still the 100 freestylers are big, strong men, and they're going to have super powerful starts and turns. People don't realize that a dive and a turn
How important it is.
Especially in these sprint events. It makes up almost 30 to 50% of the race. And as Gabe, it has awesome turns, awesome underwaters. And if you on 100 are lacking in your turns, your push-offs, or your start, you're pretty much setting yourself up to be a poor sprinter. You really need to be on point and super quick in and out of those walls. Gabe
went out with a 25.06, so in his 50 freestyle he was just under 24, and so he's only about a second over, but again, it's double the distance, so you have to hold that speed, and it looks like he's doing very well. But the gentleman in lane 4 is making a little push for it. You can see he's really going for it, but Gabe looks like he's going to be able to hold on and touch with a time of 51.43.
That is very fast in-season 100 freestyle. We have Benny Greeno coming in 5th in a time of 55.83, and Graham Campbell coming 6th in a time of 56.25. Fast swims from all these gentlemen. Especially, it is hard to get up and go for these sprint events in season. Sometimes it's nice to swim a distance event in season because your fitness is there. You can work out the kinks a little bit, like Claudia mentioned, as you go through a race. There's a little bit more room for error. But stepping up and having to sprint in these shorter distance events in season when you're fatigued, when you have the stress of school and any extracurriculars that you have, it can be really difficult.
We have just no SFU swimmers in the water in this next heat, but we're getting ready. We're coming down almost to the home stretch here. Alex and I have both turned our heat sheets to the last page, so the swimming is coming to a close, which is going to start getting really emotional for these seniors, as this is their last time that they're ever going to be entering the water. So it looks like all 4 of them will be in the water at least one more time. And yeah, so it's going to be really that last swim. It's
Yeah.
going to be really emotional for them because this is the last time that they ever get to swim in their home crowd, their home pool, having an individual lane.
Yeah.
So they're really going to, I'm pretty sure they're all going to step it up and have a pretty good final race
So,
here.
Brandon, you were in this exact boat last year coming into your senior home meet with one more meet following that's more of a shave and taper meet and more about your personal success without so much the success of the team on your back. Can you walk us through maybe what the seniors are feeling at this point?
Oh, they're like, their stomachs are kind of in knots because they're nervous about their races, but they're excited, they're happy, they're sad. It's all these emotions that you just don't know how to like decipher them and be able to figure out what they're feeling. But you know, we're gonna see them build a tunnel here soon from the rest of the swim team, and then you got to run through that tunnel, and it's so emotional. Like Claudia said earlier, she's a little bit teary-eyed as well already. There's 4 seniors this year, as we've been told, and it looks like Claudia is going to be one of 2 swimmers for the 200-meter backstroke up next. So this is, I think, her final race of her career in this pool.
So yeah, it is an emotional thing, and it can be tough to balance those emotions, being upset and being happy,
Exactly.
and also realizing that you still have a job to do for your team. You still have to step up and race at this meet, and then for your final meet, but they're going to be swimming in Victoria. That's more of a personal success for those girls,
Yeah,
unless they're still trying to qualify for NCAAs. But it is hard to maintain focus when you realize that your career is coming to a close.
And most likely for a couple of our seniors, like Claudia and Charlene, this is they only have this meet and that one in Victoria as their last meets. Lauren Swistak will obviously she's going to continue on training and go to Canadian Nationals and has a very good shot of being able to qualify for the NCAA trial, which we are not going to find out until about February 15th-ish, about that time, on who is actually going to be selected into the NCAA meet, championship meet down in Alabama.
We're just underway with the women's 200-meter backstroke here. So it's 8 lengths to the pool of backstroke. And as I mentioned earlier during that relay, you will never see anymore a world-class backstroker who has poor underwaters. And you can watch Jessie Gibson has a very natural underwater dolphin kick. She makes it look easy. She's going about 7 meters off every wall. She has a really nice and smooth stroke, a high body position with a really nice shoulder roll with every stroke she takes.
She's not going quite as far underwater as she did in that relay at the beginning of the program, and that's because this is double the distance. 200s hurt a lot, especially getting in this 100 mark. This next 50 is where you really got to dig down, and you got to mentally and physically find the strength to really pull forward. And then once you flip in that 150, you're like, oh, it's almost there. You can feel it, and she's going to do really well. But she's looking really good in the water. Same with Claudia here. That's a pretty good backstroke she has going on overall. Again, Claudia, as she said earlier, her more preferable events are the distance one. However, she is a very decent backstroker as well.
Claudia actually came into SFU with a senior national or Canadian national time standard, so a type of time that allows you to swim or compete at Canadian nationals in butterfly events, backstroke events, and freestyle events. She was truly a jack of all trades, and it shows here. You don't really get the opportunity to swim so many off events when you come to varsity swimming, as your job is to swim your best events and score points for your team. But you can always tell when Claudia, you could put her in a 200 fly or a 200 back, and she will be able to step up and swim fast, as she is showing that she can here.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. She is swimming really beautifully. Jessie is here about to finish the race, and she's going to touch in first with a time of 2:16.28.
A very fast in-season dual meet time. That I'd be surprised if that wasn't actually a dual meet record, let alone a clan record, although I think she has that from a previous meet. Claudia touches in a time of 2:29.33. That's a really good, solid showing for her as well. And we're going to head into the men's 200-meter backstroke. We have Andrew Winowski, the younger Winowski out of the two brothers here, in lane 1. Keenan Elliott in lane 3, and going to the breaststroke. Read the wrong thing. But we
Andreas in lane 5.
But we do have Andrew Winowski. I did not get that wrong.
Andrew Winowski is in lane 3, just to clarify,
Yeah.
and Andreas Sinax is in lane 5.
Andrew Winowski is one of those swimmers as well, where you can, as a distance swimmer and as an IMer, where you can throw him into pretty much any event, and he's going to step up and swim fast. I think up until recently, backstroke actually was one of his weaker events, but he worked very hard on improving his technique and asking his coach what he needed to do to get faster at it, and it's obviously paying off. He's good enough to be one of the better backstrokers on the team, and had a really nice backstroke start there, a little deep in the underwaters. And Andreas is more of a sprint backstroker, but you can watch him as he's slowing his stroke rate down. And is being a little bit more reserved on this first 50 of the 200 backstroke in order to be able to maintain and pick up even towards the end of the race.
Andreas looks really smooth in the water right now. I haven't had the opportunity to watch him swim too much. However, he does look very good. Andrew, this is actually, he grew up in this pool. He's been swimming at this pool longer than I've been here, which has been 5 years. So he was on the pre-varsity Simon Fraser Aquatics team, which is kind of like a sister club to SFU that's under, that you train through high school, and you're trying to prime to get super fast and get onto university team. And Andrew decided to pick SFU as his university to compete.
He's starting to pick up the stroke rate a little bit, not letting lane 4 get too much of a lead on him. He had a really strong push off the wall, but lane 4 has a really awesome underwater, and he's looking like he's not even trying. Really nice shoulder roll on lane 4. When you have that shoulder roll and backstroke, it kind of allows you to stay more streamlined in the water, so more hydrodynamic, as well as when your body is rolled and you're in that catch position, so when your hand enters the water, you're able to engage the whole kinetic chain, so you're not relying only on your arm, but you get to go right down into your lats and your core muscles as well to help draw from other muscles to bring some power in towards the end or the push phase of the stroke.
We're heading into the last 50 here. It's looking really strong, as well as it seems like a few more athletes are trickling in onto deck, because actually at the end of this program there is a relay against all the other SFU varsity teams. So I think football has 3 teams this year trying to win that cup. Track and field has won it the last 2 years. Track, I believe, has 1 team, and volleyball has another team. Looks like wrestling has another one.
It is always interesting to watch the other athletes hop in and swim. We did have a year where there was actually quite a bit of a scare on whether or not someone was going to be able to finish the race.
Yes. Alex and I were both on deck there. Alex and I are both lifeguards for the SFU swim team, and both of us kind of kicked off our shoes.
A little bit of a scare for sure. People don't give water its due respect sometimes. But it will be a fun event. Anyways, Andrew Winowski touched second in that with a time of 2:09. Anything under 2:10 for that 200 back is you're getting right up there. We had Andreas come fourth in time of 2:13.31. So really
very
good
strong swims for those boys. Up next is the 400-meter freestyle. We have, not Sydney Peak. I thought that said Sydney Peak there, but that's from Seattle. Kristen Alvet, who won the 800. So again, we're expecting a pretty strong showing here for her in the 400, as well as Megan Barrick, a junior on the swim team who trains right beside Kristen every single day. It's going to be a very good race.
So they swam kind of the opposite ends of the spectrum in the races today. Kristen swam the 800 and the 400 rails. Megan swam the 200 and the 400. And you will see swimmers who are very good at the 100, 200, and 400 freestyles, or swimmers who are good at the 1500, 800, and the 400. And it can go either way, and you'll watch them, like Megan is out flipping first in the first length, and then probably may even be first on this first 50. But you will watch Kristen try and pick up in the second half of the race and won't let Megan or anyone else get too far ahead of her.
And both these girls, like you said earlier, Megan has a very smooth stroke. Both these girls actually have a very smooth stroke, and you can tell by watching them, especially compared to the other Seattle swimmers. They're looking like they're trying to push through a little more force in the water. Kristen and Megan both have very nice, technical, long, beautiful strokes.
So you can watch there is a little bit less breathing in this as well than there would be in the 800. The 800, the 1500, you get into that stroke rate and stroke rhythm that you maintain for the whole race right away. Whereas in the 400, you definitely want to try and push that first 100 a little bit, get yourself in a good position to race, and then continue. Kristen's quarter of the way through the race and is pushing off first with the first split of 105.65. Megan looks like she is in second, just ahead of lane 4 with a time of 107.04.
Both looking really good right now. Looks maybe saving a little bit of energy for that second half of the race. Again, we have counters at the other end for this race, because anything over at 200 meters, so 400 or 500, depending on what pool you're swimming in, the 800 or the 1,000, and the 1,500 or the 1,650, all need counters, so they're all counted, just in case you lose count. Because sometimes it's hard when you're swimming those long distances to keep track of how many lengths you've done.
It definitely can be hard sometimes to maintain, to count as well as swim. It's tough. Kristen has continued to pull away. She's about to approach the halfway mark after she's heading into the 200-meter mark now. Megan Barrick has also continued to pull away from lane 4 and is actually not letting Kristen pull away from her. She's maintaining a really... Megan doesn't even look like she's trying, so she may be able to pick up on the second 200.
Here we go in for the flip. Looks like Kristen is going to be there, but right close behind, 2 seconds exactly, actually, is Megan, and she's looking really strong. This is turning out to be a very good race between the two SFU women.
It's in the 400 free, you'll definitely see a bit closer splitting between the two 200s than you would in an 800 or for sure in a 200 free. So the second half of the race should be almost as fast as that first half, because it's not quite as much room for error. So you need to go out pretty strong in that first 100, but because it's not quite as long, you should have a little more left in the tank towards the back half of that race, that back quarter. Megan is continuing to just stay right around 2 seconds behind Kristen, so she may have to pick up a little bit with 125 left here in order to pick up first place.
However, this is a very strong showing by the SFU women. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure they did not swim this event last weekend. So Seattle is not used to these guys and not 100% sure on what it is. And that's because there was 2 different formats that have been ran. So last weekend there was kind of a shorter sprint where they did hundreds of stroke, and most likely the 800 or I guess it would have been 1,000 last weekend. But this weekend they've decided to do 200s on stroke and introduce the 400 into it. So it's very different format. So everything is up for grabs. And as you can see, just to recap in case anybody was curious, it is 92 points for the women and 58 points for the 92 points for the SFU women and 58 points for the Seattle U women, and both the men for SFU and Seattle U are tied right now at 75 apiece. So this men's coming down into these last few events, we're gonna have to be very close watching and seeing who's gonna pull out ahead.
Megan and Kristen are coming into that last length of the 400 free. Kristen looks like she's extended her lead just a little bit, but both these girls look so strong, so smooth. They didn't drop off at any point in the race. They stayed mentally tough as well as physically tough throughout the whole thing, and didn't let those Seattle girls make a move on them at any point. Kristen touches first in time of 4:32.74, so like I said before, really close splitting on those 200s. And Megan Barrick touches in time of 4:37.17. So really good, strong swim for both those girls in a 400 for an in-season swim.
Up next is the men for the exact same event, so 400-meter freestyle. In lane 1, James Cormier, who swam in 200 IM earlier, so he might be feeling a little bit tired, but 400 is going to be a pretty good race for him. Matt Hamill, who won the 800 earlier, so again, this is and was the first male NCAA champion from last year for the 1650. This is another kind of distance event. It's a mid-distance, so he should be able to perform fairly well. And down there in lane 5 is Tim Winofsky. So again, this is going to be shaping up for a pretty good race, because as you guys saw earlier, that 800 was a good race between Mac and Tim.
And it will quite likely be a race for pride for these SFU men, unless Seattle has stacked this event with different swimmers than their 800, which actually is very rare. Your 400 and 800 swimmers usually are the same people. Distance group, they tend to be the ones, when you have a limited number of events that you can swim at a dual meet, you're going to put your best swimmers into each event. So Mac is going out nice and relaxed, and like I said earlier, Tim needs to go out fast because he's going to maintain that speed throughout the entire race.
This is going to turn out to be a pretty decent race. Already out very close in between Mac, Tim, and the gentleman in lane 4, as well as the gentleman in lane 6 is making a pretty good run at it on the first 50. But remember, this is 16 lengths of the pool, so it is a little bit longer of a race. You don't want to be going all out on that first 50 and not be able to have any energy or gas in the tank in that last 50.
So I think lane 4 is swam the 800, and lane 6 swam the 200, both for Seattle. So like I said earlier, you can see people coming from two opposite ends of the spectrum for their team as well. And lane 6 coming out of that 200 free may be out a little bit faster, whereas lane 4 may be out a little bit more conservatively. And then we'll try and pick up in the second half.
Mac picked it up there and is getting a little bit more of a lead out for the first 100 with the time of 58.41. A little more on the cautious side, but again, it's a long race. He has to maintain that energy, but he's looking very good right now. Tim down there in lane 5, also looking very good. James over there in lane 1, also looking good. I'm pretty sure he was battling a sickness last weekend, and he actually didn't compete in Seattle last weekend. There was also not a full team for both men and women going down to Seattle, just because of certain events that have occurred or certain issues that have arisen. But this weekend, it's a full team for both teams, so it's very close, and we're doing very well. Mac and Tim are now first and second and looking very good overall.
It can be tough coming out of a training camp, especially a training camp where these swimmers actually miss the first entire week of school. Coming back to having to catch up to school, you're still in full training schedule. So as I mentioned earlier, it's 30 to 40 hours a week of training with a full-time school workload on top, as well as a lot of these people work part-time jobs on the weekends to help them pay for their school. So when you have these external stressors coming off of a training camp where your body is beaten and you are extremely tired, you're setting yourself up to get sick and potentially injured. So it's important for these guys to maintain a routine, so healthy habits, and reduce the stress in their lives, or else they will fall to sickness or injury. As I think one of SFU's female star breaststrokers, Miranda Stever, currently has a shoulder injury and is not competing in the meet today.
And as you said, you guys or the swim team, as well as Alex, you were a chaperone for this year's training camp over in Hawaii. You guys were having like plus 30 weather almost every day, and then you guys came back. For anybody who's watching internationally or around Canada, Vancouver's had a lot of snow recently and a lot of cold weather, which is very unusual. So they kind of came back from that plus 30 weather to here. Your bodies are already feeling down. I definitely know, I work here at the pool, I definitely know that there was low attendance at certain practices because of sicknesses, just like minor cold and stuff. But it looks like the team's fully recovered, training really hard, getting ready for this last little push before this meet in Victoria, as well as getting ready for NCAAs. Looks like we're just about finished this event. Matt Hamill is heading into his last 50, as well as Tim going 1-2. Mac has a very big lead right now, over 5 seconds on Tim Winoski, and lane 4 from Seattle U, it looks like he's in third. Going into the finish here, Mac looks really strong, really picking up that kick. He's going to come in and touch just under 4 minutes, 3:59.12, which is a very good in-season time for him.
That is a good in-season time for him. I think he may have known where he was in that swim, actually. I think he wanted to get just under 4 minutes, and he's got a little bit of a smirk on his face, shaking his head. So I think he is actually quite happy with that in-season swim.
He looks very happy for that.
But I think he knew that he was going to be just under 4 minutes there. Tim touched second in a time of 4:07. So Mac won that by almost 8 seconds. It's a big lead, and James is just coming in here and is going to touch in a time of 4:29.55.
The swim meet is going to take a quick break here. They're going to get ready for the senior presentations. So stay tuned, and we'll be back for those.
Strong character is created little by little, day by day. It is pushing through physical and mental pain, agonizing losses, and repetitive practices. I am JJ Pankratz, and I am ready for the new season.
It's on us to stop sexual violence.
We are Canada's NCAA team.
With 400 student athletes in 17 sports.
Together, we can end sexual violence at SFU. To look out for each other.
And not look the other way.
To get a friend home safe.
To not blame the victim.
It's on us.
It's on us.
To speak up.
To step in.
To support those who need it.
To be a part of the solution, not the problem.
It's on me, it's on you, it's on us.
Because consent matters.
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 Learn more about how you can contribute to a culture of zero tolerance towards sexual violence at SFU by visiting sfu.ca/sexual assault.
Because together, we can make a difference.
Great leaders know their strengths and can call on the right strength at the right time. It's about setting an example to influence others so they can be better. I am Devin May, and I am ready for the new season.
From court to court and lane to lane, under the lights or under the sun. No one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours, the home of Division II college sports.
When I arrived at SFU, I was ready to pursue my dream to become a physiotherapist, which all started back in high school with my passion for athletics. But then I took a health sciences course and discovered that at SFU you have choices, incredible choices. It opened my eyes to a world of possibilities in global health, possibilities for my future I had never considered. But I really struggled with letting go of my first goal. And that's when I found out how much support you get here. Incredible support, so you can really explore all those choices, think them through, and choose the path that's right for you. Faculty and staff paved the way for me and helped me navigate my new path, and I've never looked back. At SFU, you're part of a real community. The faculty and staff know who you are, what your interests are, and they really go out of their way for you. Research projects, conferences, international studies, co-op positions, student leadership. At SFU, you get the best education you could possibly hope for and the most support you could possibly ask for. And now that I've graduated, I'm packing my bags for Oxford to start my master's degree. Here's my plan. I see a need for better bridges between ideas and action in global healthcare. And if I can help build those bridges, that would be a really fantastic thing to do. I'm ready, and if you put your mind to it, you'll be ready too.
And we are back. We're just starting the senior presentation here. The first person up here is Lauren Swistak.
Lauren Swistak is a Port Moody, BC native.
From Scarborough, Ontario, majoring in business.
This is Claudia Matthew, who was just up here interviewing with us earlier. Already looks like she has a few tears on her.
Tearing up already.
Just giving some hugs to the coaches. Each senior gets some flowers from all the coaches and from SFU as a whole. Up next is Charlene Hugh. And our last senior and our only male senior of the year is Keenan Elliott.
Keenan Elliott was our only male senior this year, so this is probably very special.
He had a very big male starting class as well. However, like a lot of sports, it's very hard to continue through those 4 tough years. Balancing school, balancing your athletics, as well as balancing, like you said, a lot of people have part-time jobs. So balancing part-time jobs. Keenan and I actually coach together every Monday, Wednesday night, and he's pretty tired by the end of it because he has double practices and then coaches on top of that on those days. But he was able to pull through, and overall, very, very well-rounded group of seniors here. They're just going to have a few hugs, and we're going to get ready for the next part of the last part, actually, of our broadcast, which is going to include the 200 breaststroke as well as the 200-meter freestyle. So that's 200-meter freestyle relay. So that's a 4x50 relay. So each swimmer is going to swim 2 lengths of the pool. Looks like we're going to have a couple more minutes of time for them to say their congratulations to the senior and stuff, and that's about it.
We have our 2 seniors still in this. Coming up, we have Charlene in the women's 200-meter breaststroke as well as Keenan in the men's 200-meter breaststroke. So it is tough at this point for them to, after all these hugs, and you realize exactly kind of what's coming to an end here, and then getting up and having to perform. Again, there can be a lot of emotions involved, and them trying to separate that can either go very, very well for them, using that emotional high to step up, or it can sometimes end up being detrimental to your racing.
Exactly.
But it is the love and support that they are feeling right now, and knowing that your teammates will miss you, and that these seniors know that they've had an impact on their team in some way. You don't have to be the fastest swimmer on the team or the superstar of the team to have had an impact. You never know who you've touched, and
exactly,
and what memories people have of you. And this is the time where teammates come together, and rookies or sophomores or juniors will be like, hey, remember this time when you did this for me, and you didn't even realize that that you had that impact on them. And it can be very emotional, and it is an upsetting time, but it can also be a happy time as well when you realize that you don't have to get up at 4 a.m. anymore.
Exactly. That 4 a.m. wake up call is so good. Not having it up for us, as Alex was just saying, it's so nice. That little bit of sleep in time is night and day difference. You're not waking up and getting braced in that cold pool. We were telling our broadcaster Gabe here earlier about how hard it is just to jump in the pool, and especially at 5 o'clock in the morning when you're getting on that deck. It's not a fun time whatsoever.
I think you can ask any swimmer ever, any level. You can be a recreation swimmer, or you could have gone to the Olympics, and you could be Michael Phelps. And the single worst thing about swimming is getting into the pool.
Yeah.
It's not even the main set. You could be on the verge of vomiting during a set, but the worst part is diving into the pool.
Talking yourself up to get in the pool.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been times when I'll talk to, I swam with Coach Sib for the last 3 years. There was times when I would talk to Coach Sib and try to delay getting in that pool. It could be like 10 minutes. And,
just
some
try to
people,
coach. Yeah.
such as Keenan, the senior here, would give me a couple dirty looks every now and then. But when you get to my age, where Alex and I are both 23, but that's pretty old for a swimmer.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get in that pool.
It is. It's especially those morning practices. 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, really, you're on deck before 5. And your coach has finished explaining the set, and you know that the next 2 hours of your life is committed to being in that pool and just diving in, and it's cold and it's 4 a.m. So it's tough. It is really tough. Any swimmer. So I think maybe these guys might not miss that so much, but it is tough when you miss like your teammates and the atmosphere and the dual meets and traveling with the team. It's really rough.
We're just getting reset here. The timers are coming back out. Swimmers are taking their places for the 200-meter breaststroke. It's going to be a really good event. I just wanted to touch on something Alex said earlier about like how being a senior, you touch each person individually. And Alex said it earlier. She still talks to Claudia and all those guys. I still talk to people on the swim team too, because you just make such a connection with certain people, and you see them every day for 4 years. Some people. It's hard to say goodbye.
Yeah, and people don't realize too. You might live on res. You might be a roommate with someone. So you're up at 4 a.m. with them, and then you most likely have class with at least 2 of your teammates.
Yeah.
So that's another 6 hours, and then the afternoon practices, which do go for the afternoon practice, can be between 3 and 4 hours.
Yeah.
And that's an entire day.
Yeah.
6 days a week. For 5 years or 4 years with the same people.
Some of these swimmers who are able to have the opportunity to live at home while they go to school and swim here at SFU see their teammates more than they see their own mom and dad and brothers and sisters.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot of strong family bonds in the swim team here.
It is truly like a family. It's those type of relationships where you pick up where you left off and it's like nothing's ever changed. We are getting into the women's 200-meter breaststroke. Looks like maybe an early start. Someone's helped up on the block when they shouldn't have.
We got Charlene Hugh in lane 1. So this is her final race as a senior at SFU. Very emotional. She just went through that tunnel, got her flowers. She's probably feeling really good, as well as Megan Franks in lane 3 here. This isn't Megan's best event. She's more the 100 for in-season and NCAA focus meets, but she'll do very well. Charlene also, this is one of her best events and should make a very good performance.
The 200 breaststroke too is it's a very tough event. It's a very technical event. Breaststroke's not one of those strokes where you can get away with being simply powerful or simply strong. You need to have that perfect technique in there as well in order to make it easier. And swim faster. Truly, it's not one of those strokes where you can just try and power your way through it. You need to have a little bit of finesse to it.
Both Alex and I know we're more of the trying to power our way through it.
Didn't work out for us.
Didn't work out quite for us. But overall, yeah, breaststroke. Like I would never be able to do what Megan Franks or Charlene are here doing. 200 breaststroke. My time would be very slow, far over 3 minutes. But right now they're looking pretty good. Seattle University is currently in the lead in lane 4, but Megan Franks is not far behind. And again, this is a longer race. It's 8 lengths of the pool, so Megan Franks has a lot more opportunity. She's more of a back half swimmer to begin with.
She is, yeah. So she'll watch as these girls, you could see earlier, they're extending their stroke, so it looks very slow and relaxed, but there's a lot of power between each of those strokes. And now what they're going to try and do is pick up their stroke rate. So the time between each individual stroke will be quicker, and they'll be taking more strokes per length. So they're going to pick up the pace here as they come into the final 3 lengths of the race. I think lane 4 may continue to hold her lead. She has a very strong breaststroke, a really nice breaststroke, has a really strong kick. You can see by how far she glides on every single one of her strokes, but Megan isn't letting her get too far ahead.
A lot of times in swimming, we always focus on like the first 2 people. However, there's a really good race going on for 3rd right now in between Charlene and the other 2 Seattle University swimmers. It's very close. They're all within less than a second of each other, and it's going to be a really tight race here to finish off.
So Charlene, lane 2 happened to have a very good underwater pullout there. But Charlene is picking up the stroke rate and trying to make a move on the swim portion here. So if Charlene can be close to her on this wall and then continue to pick up on this last length, she may have a shot of picking up a 3rd place here.
Megan Franks, too, also looks like she's picking up the pace a little bit, making a little bit smaller of a gap between lane 4. However, Seattle University is going to touch in first with a time of 2:36. Megan Franks in second with a time of 2:39. And our 3rd place is going to be very close here. It's down to the wire, a very good race. And it looks like Charlene Hugh is going to touch for her final race at SFU with a time of 2:51:39.
I think that's a really good time for Charlene. I think she should be very proud of that.
Oh, she has a huge smile on her face and just did a little thumbs up. Up next is the men's of this same event. is going to be Andrew Winoski in lane 1. Keenan Elliott, so his final race here at SFU. I'm pretty sure this is his best event. This is going to be a really good race to watch, as well as James Cormier, who, again, has just finished the 400, so he might be a little bit more tired, but also should have a good race down in lane 5.
Keenan Elliott has been chasing a trial standard, so a Canadian national trial standard, which is our spring national meet in this event for years, and it has always just eluded him. I think last year at Clan Cup, so 2015 Clan Cup, he missed it by 1/100th of a second. So he is a very, very strong breaststroker and really good at the 200 as he's able to maintain his technique throughout the entire race, and has an awesome underwater pull. And just given by the crowd that he has at the end of the pool cheering for him, I think he might be trying to go for a standard here as well.
Yeah, I think he's going to try to get as close to get to a converted time to try to qualify for NCAAs. As you guys can see on the screen, the sun is kind of starting to set a little bit and kind of on the backside of our pool, and it might be a little bit harder to see the wall, but these guys, this is the advantage though that being at a home pool has. Keenan knows how to swim in the sun at this pool. He knows how to get going. Looking very strong right now. Again, just because he is not in first doesn't mean that he might not win this, because this is a long race, and Keenan has a very strong second half, especially that last 50. He can go very strong and very close to the wall, or very strong into the wall.
Keenan is also, you can watch him as he's pushing off the wall, probably has the best underwater pull out of everyone in the pool currently. He's making a move on each turn on the guys in lane 2 and lane 4. If he's able to close this gap going into the second half of the race, he's going to do it on the underwaters, and he may be able to pull him first if he's picking up his stroke rate, which he is. He came up, he touched the wall in third, and is coming up pretty close to second, and actually may start to pull away into first coming into this 125-meter mark.
However, all 3 Seattle University men are all very, very close to Keenan. It's going to be a very tight race to the end here. We have just over 50 meters to go. Everybody's looking very strong. Keenan picking it up. However, lane 2 is also picking it up. Here we go into the last turn in the deep end. Nice, strong underwater pull out by Keenan here, going almost 10 meters off that wall. And here he goes. He's going to take it and try to finish and hold on and get to that first place touch.
Andrew Wanowski's also trying to make a move here, and he might just catch the Seattle swimmer in lane 6 if he's able to maintain this stroke rate and have this momentum that he's built in the 7th 25 continue into the 8th 25. Keenan's looking a little bit fatigued here. He might have put a little bit too much in that third 50, but he's maintaining that stroke rhythm and rate, and has a very strong kick as he's going into the finish. Seattle touches first and second, and Keenan will touch third in a time of 2:24.36, which is awesome in-season 200-meter breaststroke time.
Andrew Winoski touched a few seconds behind with a time of 2:27.64, and James Cormier maybe feeling a little bit rough from that 400 with a time of 2:35.14. We're going to take one last quick break here before our final 2 events, and we will be right back.
taller, I will see. places I'm going, I will know your ways.
From court to court and lane to lane under the lights or under the sun. No one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours, the home of Division II college sports.
When I first came to SFU, I thought I knew exactly what I wanted. When I got into my second semester, I suddenly wasn't so sure what I wanted to do anymore. So I started to explore a little bit. Archaeology, communications, history, even kinesiology. And then I decided to go on exchange to France for a year. I was an orientation leader for a year, became a community advisor in residence, helped start a choir, I even took a rowing course. After SFU, I have lots of possibilities of what I could do, but whatever I do, I know I'll be ready for it.
And we are back. We're heading into the last event that's going to count for points today. There is still that fun varsity relay that even Seattle sticks around for. However, this is the women's 200-meter freestyle relay. So it's going to be a 4x50 relay. Each lady swimming 2 lengths of the pool. On the SFU swim team, we only have one in this event. It's going to be Elaine going first, Cindy going second, Alicia going third, and Megan Barrick pulling up the rear with going fourth. This is going to be a really good race overall, and I think the women came off that win in that 4x100 relay at the beginning, so I think it's also going to be a very good close race to finish off here, and they're going to feel powerful and want to win.
Elaine Lamb won the women's 50 freestyle individual event, so she is a good choice to have lead off this relay. Sydney Peak is also a very strong 50 freestyler. She won the 100-meter freestyle, so we have it seems like we're putting our fastest 2 ladies up front. There are a couple different strategies to relay order. A lot of people will put their fastest swimmer in the anchor spot, or the person who's most likely to step up. There's also something called the suicide order, where you go fastest to slowest, and hopefully that last person can hold on. Looks like coach has put a combination of girls on this. Every single girl is a very strong 50 freestyle, and I don't think there's a weak leg in this. As Sydney just picked up a lot of time there, giving SFU almost a full second lead.
Alicia looking really strong right now as well, heading in well, that's an amazing underwater
yeah.
right there. She's looking really strong. You can tell she's pushing for it. Megan Barrick here is about to take over, also looking like she's ready to kill it.
Megan Barrick did a double step relay takeover. It's hard to time, but it gives you a lot more momentum going into that race. Megan Barrick looks like she has a little bit of a slower stroke rate, but she actually pulls a lot more water than a lot of other swimmers do around her. So her stroke rate is a little bit lower, but she can afford to do that since she is just so strong. And she'll be able to maintain this lead, although lane 4 is making a little bit of a push. Megan Barrick's coming into that final stretch, and she will touch first, and the relay's time will be 1:51.78. It's an awesome women's 4x50 freestyle relay. Very good job by the ladies, as they will take this meet. So it was nice for them to come back after a loss last weekend. They really stepped up and pushed for a win today.
I'm not 100% sure if the points are exactly correct that we're seeing on the board right now, but it seems that the women have won by from the SFU women have 111 points and the Seattle women have 77 points. So it's a very good, strong win for our women. Heading into this final event, this is going to be really close. It is 92 for the SFU men right now and 96 for the Seattle U. So Seattle U is technically winning. But as Alex said first, if you can get this win in this event, that counts for more points than all the other places combined. So if SFU can get this here right now, we only have one team, Seattle has 2, but if SFU can get this, we will win the most likely, I'm not 100% sure, but most likely win the meet today.
Yeah, so we have Rolando going first for SFU. Mackenzie is going second, Mackenzie Campbell. Daniel Kilmaster will be going third, and Graham Campbell will be the anchor of this relay.
You can hear everybody cheering. You can see SFU is standing up on the far side over by the dive tank. People cheering. You can even see there's a few people standing up in the crowd, and Seattle U on this other side. This is a very close race. These men are going to really battle for it. Both teams wanting the win. We're hoping SFU here.
My heart's pumping here now too. Rolando did touch third, but just barely. It's very close. Everyone within 0.3 of a second. There is a lot of distance swimmers on this relay,
yes.
but all these men have been known to step up for their team. Mackenzie is pulling away from lane 2, is struggling to catch lane 4, but we have Daniel Kilmaster, who is a very strong 50 freestyle, going in third.
And a very strong relay. Daniel Kilmaster knows when he has to step it up, and we're going to go in here with the third leg, and Graham Campbell is going to be the man to pull up the rear, do the anchor of the relay. It's looking really strong. Daniel Kilmaster losing a little bit of a lead in between lane 4 and 3. Lane 2 is catching him too, but overall very good. Graham Campbell coming up. Very close start there.
Yeah.
Very close start.
Lane 4 had an awesome third leg there. That was a very fast split. Hopefully Graham Campbell can hold off lane 2. There is no catching lane 4 as they continue to pull away after that awesome third split, but hopefully Graham can pull off a second place finish here. He's got that long reach, but if he continues to breathe every 2, he's going to struggle to get in second. And it will be SFU.
Second.
With over just about 0.2 of a second at a time of 1:37.85.
So very good for the men. They were hoping for that win, however. Very good setup and a very tough meet for them. 2 weekends in a row they've had 3 weekends in a row. Sorry, they've had swim meets now. They battled. They had BC Senior Circuit over in Surrey a couple weekends ago, Seattle last weekend, and now Seattle again this weekend. These men are tired, and the women too, but overall they all did a really good job. They're just finishing up here. Everybody's hopping out of the pool. Both teams are going to do a little bit of a cheer right now, cheering for the other team. There'll be some handshakes. And then not the main event, but the event that's like a good thing to watch is going to be up next, which will be the varsity relays.
The varsity relays are always a lot of fun to watch. It's they're exciting, they're fun. There is a lot of pride on the line for those other athletes. There is a big trophy that goes into this, and the winner gets their team and the year engraved onto this trophy. It's actually one of the biggest trophies I think I've seen at SFU.
Yeah, and it actually is a new tradition. It's only been around for
3 or 4 years.
3 years. I think this is their 4th year doing it. I think it was my 2nd year that they started this. So yeah, everybody loves it. It's a little each year. It depends on. Sometimes it's hard to get turnouts because certain teams competed in the fall, certain teams are competing in the spring, certain teams are away right now. I think basketball is away, so it's hard to get a basketball team. But overall, it's going to be a really good race. They're just cheering. SFU's here is about to do their hip hip hooray.
Yeah, the classic hip hip hooray. Yeah, for the other team. Yeah. So they're cheering for Seattle and then for themselves. It was a great battle. The women came away with a win. I think the women came away with a win. It definitely seemed to be that way. They won most events.
They're just tallying up the final scores there. The computer takes a little bit sometime.
So we'll see. I think the women won. The men, I think it will either be close or the men just lost. But I think given that Seattle almost doubled SFU's score last weekend, the fact that they kept it so close this weekend was a huge feat for them. And the Seattle men's team always seems to give our team a little bit of trouble. They always are very strong and have a couple of very fast swimmers on that team. Looks like the varsity relays are getting ready to go. We do have some teams with caps on. We got some teams with caps. There is the classic team who is wearing shorts.
So I think the football team, I've heard that they had 3 teams. It looks like right now they maybe only have 2 teams, but it looks like they kind of have an offensive line team and a defensive line team. We have a few bigger guys going to be swimming in lane 6 and more of like maybe some of the running backs in lane 4 here. Lane 5 looks like volleyball.
Oh, it's not a cap, that's a luchador mask. Close enough. Nice. You can also see the lifeguards. They tend to get a little bit prepared for this too. Just
just because of that little scare. We're just finishing up the handshakes with the team here. All the coaches going around and shaking the team's hands.
You can see Seattle is curious as to what's going on. They want to see what this relay is. They should know by now. Track in lane 2.
Track's going to be in lane 2. It's a women's track team this year, which is surprising because usually it's the men's track team, and those are the ones that have won, I think, the past 3 years in a row.
I think men's track has won every single year. And the men's track team actually did have two former swimmers who moved over to track as their careers went on. So they did have a little bit of an advantage these past years. But these women, they've got the right suits. One's wearing a cap. The other one that looks like at least all four of them have goggles.
We got women's wrestling in lane 3. Two lifeguards on this one. A former Port Moody Aquarian. Alex coaches for that team currently.
Oh yeah, that's probably Sierra McRae, a very strong swimmer. She looks like she's ready to go.
Lane 4 looks like the offensive team from the football, and lane 5 is volleyball, and lane 6 looks like the defensive team. They're all wearing Speedos too.
I don't think matching. Those are Speedos.
Oh, those are, but they're all wearing matching something.
Those are some. You know what? We'll see how this goes.
And you guys can see Seattle has a really big team here today.
They're cheering them on.
They're cheering for this. They love this every time. Our swim team over here on the other side, they're all getting ready. It's a good race to watch.
And they're off. Lane 3 had a really good dive. Did a couple dolphin kicks there. Nice. So, they're lane 3, small but mighty, and she's winning. She's got a very strong kick. You know, she's probably a full foot shorter than lane 4, but she's pulling away. And I can't see the men's football team in lane 6.
Lane 6, it's a little scrappy bit of swimming, but he's in the shallow end. If he needs to, he can touch the ground.
Lane 5 won't put her face in the water. Sometimes that happens. She's got her goggles in her hands.
Yeah, looks like sometimes goggles fall off.
Ooh,
it's hard.
Sorry, big belly flop by lane 3.
Lane 4 did a huge dive and making its way up.
Nice. Oh, his goggles came off. That happens. On lane 3's lead has been lost, and lane 2 is also making a move. Lane 6 hasn't finished that first 50 yet, and lane 5 is actually also starting to pull up on lane 3 as well.
You can actually see there's lifeguards on both sides of the pool right now, just being extra safe. There's lots of varsity people who are also lifeguards. Overall, very good. Looks like lane 4 is in the lead currently. The wrestling team took a little bit of a hit here in the second
nice dive.
50. But here we go. And
couple underwater pullouts. You actually technically are allowed to do anything you want in freestyle, so he can't get disqualified for that. You can do as many underwater pulls as you like. And he actually looks like a very strong freestyler. No flip turn, pushes off, and something that resembled the streamline. And may even come in to lap lane 3 as he laps one of his own teammates in lane 6. Lane 2,
track team is actually also catching up here. This could be a very close finish.
Yeah.
I know the girl on lane 2, she is a swim instructor, so I'm pretty sure she might have been a former swimmer as well. So this could be a very close race.
She might catch lane 4.
She might catch lane 4.
Oh, wait, no, lane 4 starting. He's got his rhythm going. But she may still do it.
He hit the lane rope.
Yeah.
Oh, we got some interference with the lane ropes here. Lane 4 can make a win for, or lane 2 can make a win for this.
If she does a flip turn, she's gonna get it. Come on. Yeah,
here we go.
Good streamline. 2
or 3
dolphin kicks.
This is track versus football.
She might catch him.
She might get him. This is track versus football.
Track might maintain their dynasty. Their dynasty.
Oh, it looks like track might do it.
She's gonna beat him. The anchor for lane 4 choked under the pressure. He couldn't
handle
handle
it. What a race.
He couldn't handle that pressure. So lane 2 wins in a time of 2:28.16, just ahead of lane 4 in a time of 2:29.93. Lane 3's final swimmer looks like she's a very strong swimmer, and I'm not sure where lane 6 is at.
Lane 6 is on their final swimmer here that just dove into the pool. 50 more to go. Looks like a pretty strong swimmer, kicking like crazy right now. Looking very good. And the entire Seattle team is pushing for this guy to finish.
They're all
there.
Yeah.
They're right there. Everybody's loving this. The crowd loves it too. They're all cheering. A very good race.
So lane 6 saved their best swimmer for last as he is just moving. His split might be under a minute. and he, he's pulling a lot of water. He's breathing every 4, I think. And
Coach Liam was right there at the end cheering him on.
Big finish
for those guys.
Yeah. What an awesome way to end that meet. Track hangs on to their title. They will continue to have their name on that relay, but the men's football team gave them a run for their money this year. I was very surprised. Wrestling kind of lost it on that second leg there, but they definitely picked up and they maintained that bronze medal position.
We just got a few closing up things to quickly say here. Final thoughts overall, it was an amazing meet by both sides, both men and women, both SFU and Seattle U. It was a really good overall meet. A lot of emotions here, not even for just Seattle. I'm guessing this is probably Seattle's final dual meet as well. So they have a lot of emotions, as well as our 4 seniors here, their final dual meet of their career, as well as for the rest of the swim team, their final dual meet for their year, heading in to the next chapter, kind of getting ready for these championship meets and trying to get ready for the future that they have on this swim team as well.
It was an awesome duel meet between Seattle and SFU. It was nice that SFU kind of picked up from last week and had a little bit of a better showing. And then for those of you who are curious, the latest news, stats, videos, and more, you can visit athletics.sfu.ca, and you can stay connected with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You should always use the hashtag NCAAA and GoClan. Those are the classics. Clan families right up there, too, to get a good hashtag in there.
Yeah. Today's meet, it was live streamed in HD, and you can watch it at athletics.sfu.ca on demand if you ever want to go back in case you missed something that your 2 favorite broadcasters missed here. And we also just want to say thank you to our sponsors, Nestor's Market, as well as the Charter Bus Lines. And if you guys are wanting to watch more amazing sports by the SFU clan, tonight SFU's men's basketball will be live streamed and brought to you in part by Nestor's, the official grocer of SFU Athletics, the Hilton Vancouver Metrotown, Charter Bus Lines of BC, and the SFU Spirit Shop.
Thank you guys for listening to us one more time, and thank you for watching our live broadcast of the SFU-SU dual meet today.
See you next time.